Was there supposed to be
Welcome.
sound?
I heard it.
I heard it.
Definitely was.
I heard
Yeah,
it on
I'm
my
probably
side.
muted. I'm probably muted because streaming.
No, it's not. I don't know. Never mind.
Welcome
sad.
to Kinda Funny's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in review. That's right. We are ranking and reviewing all of the theatrically released Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. That includes Ninja Turtles 1, 2, and 3, the 2007 TMNT CG movie, and the 2 Michael Bay movies. We do the show twice a week with different movie franchises. Right now, we're doing Ninja Turtles and Pixar in review with this exact same cast, which is very exciting and includes me, Tim Gettys, the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez.
Good afternoon, everybody.
The
big
verified
dog.
one now.
The new verified one, Andy Cortez. You gotta love it. Love to
Oh
see
wow!
that.
Long
Congratulations.
time coming. It just
You got
cost me
that-
$30,000. Put a down payment down.
Wow.
Blessing got
Totally
his for
worth it.
free. It was weird. Maybe you guys mixed some wires there.
Weird.
The big dog, Kevin Coelho.
Hey guys, I'm tired.
Megan Fox's best friend, Joey Noel.
Oh, just besties hanging out. Her, Machine Gun Kelly.
Joey. Are you machine?
Oh, damn it!
Firefly. That's,
That's
her call
my
sign.
Firefly.
Top
Yeah.
Gun call name.
All right,
So.
I hit the wrong button and the Nolan intro started. My bad. That was my bad.
Yep. Oh,
And it
things are
might
just going great
There
here.
might be consequences.
happening.
No, everything seems fine. Everything's totally fine. Great.
Or what's
doesn't
behind
look,
all of
doesn't look
us?
fine to me. And of
Yeah,
course, we have
yeah,
the producer
yeah.
slash seducer, Nick Scarpino.
I don't know what's happening, but I'm already having a great time, everyone. This movie is something.
It is something. It is something. Just like this episode of Kinda Funny in Review. Like I said, it happens twice a week right here on youtube.com/kindafunny. You can also get it on roosterteeth.com if you want the podcast version. Search your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny in Review, and we'll be right there for you. If you want to get the show ad-free, if you want to watch live as it's being recorded, you can go to patreon.com/kindafunny, just like our Patreon producers, Mike Hole, G, and Tom Bach did. Thank you both so very, very much.
Thank
Let's
you.
get right into it. Today, we are talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A runtime of 1 hour and 33 minutes. Very short, which I appreciate. Released on May 30th, 1990. Just 4 short days after Kevin Coelho was brought into this world.
Wow.
The last theatrical film that Jim Henson was associated with, he died about a month and a half after the film's release. Obviously, Jim Henson and his team were the ones that created the amazing costumes featured in this movie. It was directed by Steve Barron, Irish-British film director, film producer, writer, and most importantly, music video director. He directed the films Ninja Turtles in 1990, Coneheads in 1993.
Oh, I love it.
There we go. The Adventures of Pinocchio in 1996 with Jonathan
Gary.
Taylor Thomas, which I'm gonna give that one the Kevin Coelho
Oh,
Stinker Award.
Unfortunate.
You
I
know
don't
what
even
I'm talking
remember
about?
that.
You don't remember that
It
one?
wasn't good.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah.
It killed
I'll pick up-
JTT's career.
It was pretty bad, and that's the movie that introduced me to
made
the
that
word
up, I don't-
jackass. So I'll take that.
Oh, careful.
but-
Careful with saying that in school, Tim. You'll get in trouble for that one.
You're right. You're right. The reason I said that he's most importantly a music video director is because he directed 2 very iconic music videos. Aha's
Ooh.
"Take on Me,"
Wow.
Really? That's cool.
and
That's dope.
The thong song?
Michael Jackson's "Billie Jean."
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Those are two
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good.
You were being serious about that. When you
That's a
said
Hall
2
of
very
Fame
important ones,
kinda
I was
resume.
expecting you to say
I
like
thought it was gonna be.
the
I thought it was
thong
gonna be
song and like Christina's Dirty or
Len.
something like that.
or Len. I was gonna say
Len.
Len.
Len, God.
What do you guys say? What
But
if
no.
we just strap you guys to a scooter? We just drive the scooter around town for a while. What do you think about that?
Scooter. Good Lord. This movie had a budget of $13.5 million, roughly 1/3 of what Batman had cost in 1989. This one had a box office of $202 million. Ninja Turtles
good.
became the highest grossing independent film up to that time, surpassed in 1999 by The Blair Witch Project, and it was the 9th highest grossing film worldwide of 1990. The independent film made me question. I was like, huh, that's a weird statement. So I looked into it a little more. Many major studios like Walt Disney, Columbia, MGM, Orion, and Paramount, whose parent company Viacom would eventually acquire Ninja Turtles, Warner Brothers turned down the film for distribution. They were worried that despite the popularity of the cartoon and the toy line, that the film could potentially be a box office disappointment, like Masters of the Universe was a couple years prior. The film found distribution roughly halfway through the initial production via the then small and independent company New Line Cinema, which had been known for distributing low-budget B-movies and art house fare. So that's pretty interesting.
That's cool.
I didn't
realize.
Know that. Yeah, I didn't realize how not only how big of a success this movie was, but also how small of a budget it had. Like 13.5 million is nothing.
Yeah, you think about it now, right?
Like
Like when we get to the other Ninja Turtles movies, where it's such an established thing over the next 3 decades, that they get Michael Bay and hundreds of millions of dollars and Megan Fox to get on it. You don't remember that this was like a chance. They took a chance on this movie back in the day.
They didn't. They totally underestimated the beast of what Ninja Turtles were. Just like I don't remember watching this movie as a kid. I was way too young when it came out. I was 2 years old, but I know why I watched it several years later when I was like 5 or 6, when Turtle Mania was just taking over the world, and my brother got me into it. And god damn, like what a time and place being a Ninja Turtles fan was. You know, it's like Beatlemania on the same level, I'd say.
Exactly.
You put the Turtles playing on top of the roofs, you know, for the
Final Fantasy. Out of Our Shells tour, man. Never forget that.
Oh, I never saw that.
I got a buddy of mine that went to that. I think he went twice, actually.
He got to meet Leonardo. He showed me a picture of him hanging out with Leonardo.
Oh my god!
Leonardo has the fucking guitar.
That's so weird.
Cool. That's so cool.
I feel like based at this point in time, you know, we saw a photo of our friend Anthony Carboni on the set of Legends of the Hidden Temple. I feel like we have another friend somewhere that was either brought up on stage or taken on tour with the Turtles. Like somebody had to have had some big involvement, and honestly, I'd put my money back on Anthony Carboni. It'd go right back on him. Yeah.
It always goes back to Carboni. Gotta love that. It's funny you say that though, Andy, because obviously the time frame of this 1990. Like Kevin was literally 4 days old. I was about a year old at that point. But us growing up with Ninja Turtles being such a huge part of our life, I'll never forget the weekend that Kevin's mom came home with not one, not two, but all 3 VHSs of these movies that we didn't even know existed.
Wow.
And it was just a one weekend marathon of us just being like, oh my, they're real. They're fucking real. These cartoons, what the hell? And it's crazy because, you know, for so long we've talked about Batman 89 and Nick and stuff. It's like, this is my Batman 89, this 1990s Ninja Turtle movie. And it's like watching 100%. It the whole time through, I'm just like, oh my God, this is just pure nostalgia. Just in an hour and 33 minutes in and out.
Getting hit with waves of it, you know, just a little line here and there. Like, wow, I remember seeing that on that dirty ass VHS several times. Like the VHS with all the film grain, and I'm sure my brother and I like had fucking like pizza crust inside of the little tape, and we had to like unwind it, unspool it. God damn, I feel so old watching this movie.
Nick,
I'm sorry, pizza crust inside of with a little tape.
Yeah, I don't want to know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Like sometimes the tape gets dirty when you like
hands.
when you're a little kid.
Oh,
you're
okay.
messy,
I thought you would take. I thought you were literally taking a piece of pizza crust that was dried out and unspooling the tape because it's something had happened to it.
No,
I get it. You're getting that
the
stuck
Nick
in
thing.
there.
My first brain went to pizza because this movie has a lot of food and pizza. And then I think of like,
VHS
you know, we just like to fuck around with cassette tapes. I wanted to see what the tape did.
Very
and your dad would walk in and be like, what the fuck? That's Rush live in Toronto. Like, no, fucking.
I had to buy that there.
Spool it. Yeah.
I feel like this movie had a lot of product placement that like really fucking worked.
When did Pizza Hut take over though? Was it part 2?
Well, no, it's Domino's,
no,
right?
Andy, no. That's what's interesting about this, guys. The product placement was not Domino's.
It was
Burger
Domino's
King in this movie. It was Pizza Hut. It was Pizza Hut that had the pizza sponsorship for the fucking movie. But for some reason, in the movie, it's Domino's. But so Live Entertainment Inc. announced that the film would go to VHS via its Family Home Entertainment label on October 4th. Blah, blah, blah. Keeps a bunch of shit. Pizza Hut engaged in a $20 million marketing campaign tied to the film, despite the fact that Domino's was what was actually in the movie.
The actual box used,
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's cool.
So that's weird as shit.
Because of course I remember the second movie. They had the commercials. Maybe it was this one. Maybe it was part one where the previews they had the Pizza Hut commercials before, and I thought, oh, maybe that's for part two. Maybe Pizza Hut took over after part one or whatever. But that's so weird that Pizza Hut would do that, especially when Domino's is just so front and center the whole time.
Exactly. So what it seems like they had a partnership for print, radio, television, rebate coupons, all of that stuff. So it was everything surrounding it, but they didn't have a Domino's partnership.
Like product placement.
Got
That's
it.
weird.
Yeah.
That's
It's
crazy.
really fucking weird.
Oh, because the one product I did see, obviously, I think I saw Pepsi's a lot, right? Was that a thing in this?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's one shot where homeboy's just eating a fucking Whopper, and it's just
Yeah.
open, it says
it
Whopper,
looks
and the box is
the box
perfect.
looks so cool.
Yeah.
I feel like this plus Burger King's like campaign of the '90s kids made the Whopper so cool in my mind. Then I had one.
Put them on the map.
Disgusting.
Oh, I love them. I
No,
love them. As
thank
you guys
you.
know, my favorite hamburger, the Whopper, dry as a fucking Sahara.
Oh, the
I
bread is
love it.
terrible.
Oh,
if
yeah.
anything, Pizza Hut won out with this because that delivery guy was late, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's not a good
3
look for
minutes.
Domino's. Yeah,
They
they
don't want
should
to be
have had
associated with that.
just the
Also-
Domino's guy show up and like he eats a couple slices. They should have made him look worse in the re-edit.
Also-
They should have re-edited this movie.
Also, remember, like later they show a pizza and it's moldy.
Moldy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And
it's a
then more
smear
it's lost.
campaign for Domino's.
Why did they say
fucked up.
penicillin though? I didn't get that.
Because
mold,
penicillin's
that's
mold.
Mold.
Yeah, that's it.
Got it. Okay. I was just
Old
like,
people
it's-
jokes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, educated
science,
people.
smart people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no one watching this fucking movie. Like, can you imagine me and you understanding
It was
that
a
joke
joke
when
for
we
the
were
adults.
4 years old?
It was a joke for the adults.
With him,
It's like a
in the
Pixar
80s
movie. It's got it all.
In the 80s and early 90s, they taught kids exclusively about penicillin. That's all they taught. Now,
Wait,
ask
but
me if
like-
I could ever, because kind of allergic to penicillin. It makes me itch, and I
too.
can never spell it. I can never. They're like, "What are you allergic to?" I was like,
One N,
Can
two
you
Ls."
write down penicillin for me? I don't know how to spell it, but it might kill me."
But like on a serious note, this movie gets so wildly serious for almost no reason. Like why did you? You're supposed to be a kids movie. Why you get so real? You know?
Why is it shot like a fucking hardcore detective film from the 80s? This
I mean,
movie's
it's that
so
era, right?
no. I mean,
there's more reasons
yes.
to it. That was
Oh, really?
the plan. Is the director was like trying to make this like real dark and gritty, more similar to the original comics.
Yeah.
But there was the popularity of the cartoon, obviously, that had
Boy.
influence in a lot of the characters and things that they do. But supposedly the director got kind of taken off the project towards the end and didn't really have any oversight over the edit itself. And there was a ton of things taken out because it was just simply too violent. They're like, this is a fucking kids movie. Like,
Gosh.
what are you doing? Like the scene where where Shredder or like the Shredder accomplice or whatever beats the fuck out of the other guy to like kind of
Yeah.
send a message. Like they kill him. They in post they had to add some lines to be like, oh man, he's messed up, but he's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
But
they
in
like
the French,
they like check his pulse or whatever.
He's
yeah,
dead.
in the French
Yeah.
edit, he's dead.
Oh,
And like
shit.
that's the actual edit. They had to add
Damn.
lines of dialogue to make
That's
it.
Well,
wild.
I mean,
Wild.
they all also did, smush Shredder to pieces in
Yeah.
a fucking
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come
So
the fuck
savage.
on.
But I mean, he died on the fall, right? He
Yeah,
fell
fall
on a
killed him for
metal.
sure.
Yeah, like he that was.
Sure.
So then
But, like, they
doesn't
just wanted
that
to be
make
sure.
it even worse because it's so unnecessary?
Yeah,
So
you just got to make
unnecessary.
sure though, Joe. If he's dead, you might as well make sure the job is
And
finished.
Killed by a
Casey
rat.
Jones acts like a little slapstick, like I can't whistle, but
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean? Like, up just over here, no bind me. Like you're crushing
Yeah,
a human
yeah.
corpse.
This movie is so
No
funny to me
remorse.
because it is so at odds
Joe.
with itself. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love this movie. It's obviously exactly what Tim's talking about, just pure nostalgia. When I was a kid, I was so into the cartoon. I was so excited they were making a TMNT movie, and I remember watching this, being like, "Huh." Just like kind of baffled by the choices made, because I absolutely loved everything that had to do with the Turtles and with Splinter, but the way it was shot, I was like, I don't understand like what I'm supposed to take away from this. I don't know if it's supposed to be serious, but they're saying zany things, and I like when they, as a kid, I'm like, I like when they say zany things. But then we get to April and Casey, and I'm like, they just feel oddly miscast in this, and that they don't really have chemistry with each other or the Turtles. And then Shredder is just this sort of like that. There's that whole thing where you're like, it's such a jarbled mess of stuff that when you go back and look at it with a critical eye, you're like, wow, this just is. There's so many things in this movie that are at odds.
I have two, one comment, one question. Nick, 10 years old. You weren't smoking cigarettes yet, but like when they cut over to like Teen
2
Island,
months away.
or the little teen
Oh, bro!
underground world.
I smoked my
like,
first cigarette when I was 13, and when they were like free cigarettes, I was like, I'm fucking in. Sign me up, Kevin. Put me on the Is there a wait list? I'll be on the wait list. Especially since they were like generic ass Pall Malls or whatever they were.
Yeah, someone once told me that what is it? Burning Man was exactly like this, and it was the hardest sell I've ever like had to fight off for going to Burning Man.
Yeah.
Where it's like that's all I've ever wanted. Like growing
Oh
up,
my
that
gosh.
like the little kid world was that like man.
Well, not
I'd
only
be one of
that,
these little ninjas.
Kevin, you're
with
lucky
some
you're not
dope
single,
outfits.
dude, because 50% of the women on Tinder are just like all about Burning Man, dude. It's like, oh
Ugh,
no, I don't want to.
stinky. Let me.
Oh,
What
and
if I
then
told you this, Kevin? What if I told you you could go to Kid Island with me? It's all the free cigarettes you want, and the guy that sells it to you is a very young Sam Rockwell.
Oh my God, Joey, how cool was it to see Sam Rockwell? Huh?
Fucking 15 years old, Sam Rockwell.
He's so young.
I didn't
Yeah,
even
it is.
realize
He's
that
so
was
young.
him.
Yeah,
I looked
Oh
it
my
up. I looked it
God.
up.
He's in this, and I looked. There was another because I was watching it on Amazon. There was
Skeet
another
Ulrich and
Skeet Ulrich
Scott
in it.
Wolf.
But
Yeah.
not the
Both in
redhead,
this.
Joe. Not the redhead.
No.
Now I
not-
have to
No,
look up a
she knows.
screenshot. No,
Danny
I know.
Danny is a different actor.
It's-
That's not.
Yeah,
he
but
was,
if you look up Danny on IMDb, it shows you the director's picture, and I was like, no way
weird.
this dude has aged that quickly.
no. But yeah, Joey, he's the guy that's like, but with family. And he's like, does your family do this? And he's like, I don't know. I don't have a
was not-
family.
Is
I
what
was
he's
not
credited
even
as.
remotely looking for anybody that I knew in those scenes, so I was just not.
Yeah, the only reason
Yeah.
I knew it is because I happened to pause it at that time, and the X-ray for Amazon came up, and it said Sam Rockwell. I was like,
it is
what the fuck
That's funny.
him.
I was watching it this time, and I was like, "Is that fucking Sam Rockwell?" And
Yeah,
they
how
cut
about
to
that
him
with
like
you, Kev?
3 times, and I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
pulling up IMDb because that
gotta
motherfucker
look at
looks
it,
like
yeah.
a 15-year-old Sam Rockwell."
Sam Rock, and it was.
and then
It
the
was.
second
I
thing
remember
is-
looking at him and being like, he kind of looks like Giovanni Ribisi, and I was like, that's kind of a weird random. But that makes more sense now. Anyway, sorry, continue.
I was gonna say the second thing I want to bring up that like I want to say always confused me, but now as an adult really, really confuses me. What's going on with Danny, April's boss, and April? Like, why are they
think
all
his-
hanging out so much?
I think he
Like
got
storms
blackmailed.
into her apartment.
He got blackmailed.
Yeah,
I think
later.
I think what happens. Yeah, so what happens, Kevin, is his son gets caught for the crime or whatever, right? And then I think the boss is like, "Yo, you better fucking tell April to get off this job, or else I'm gonna have you in the
yeah,
slammer." or
you're
some shit like
talking
that.
about way later. I'm talking about fucking the first time we meet him. He storms into April's apartment, and Danny is there, right?
Oh, it's like they
Well,
live
he
in like
brought
a
he brought
dorm or
Danny
some
because
shit.
he brought Danny because Danny
brought
got
Danny with him?
in trouble with the cops. Yeah,
Not yet.
So
That's
Danny
later. The first
No,
time he
he
did
has
it.
a
beginning
I
of the
think
movie.
I think he has a throwaway line where he's like, yeah, he got in trouble with pickpocketing or something, got
all right,
arrested.
all
So
right, all right.
and the reason he came over to April's house was because she got attacked the night
Yes,
prior,
the
and she
night
didn't. He
prior.
was just like, I got to go check on her, so he came before he went to
Okay,
work.
all right. So there's nothing
Now,
weird
here's
going
the
on
thing,
there.
though, Kevin.
I don't think
Nothing
so. I don't
weird
think there was
at
supposed to be
all.
anything implied. No.
I will not allow you, Kevin, to talk shit about one of the greatest character arcs of
Charles.
all time, which is
Dad.
Danny in this movie.
No,
Danny
Tim.
in this movie.
You
Let me
mean-
tell you what happens, guys.
Do you
You
mean
mean
Dan?
Dan?
Goes the
Dan?
entire movie as Danny. He's a bad kid. He's like, you know what? I'm not Dad anymore. You can call me Dad. Credits roll. And it's like, he grew everyone. I can't believe they did that. Why would you have a line like that?
The
wasn't-
dad's reaction to it is so hilarious. Dan.
All right.
But it was kind of our reaction also.
I'm into it, man. I love it.
It was the audience watching, and it's like, well, it's not like he's been asking to be Dan like at all, right?
Or like his dad kept calling him Dan, and he's like, "It's Danny, it's Danny." And then Danny's like, "You know what, Dad? You're right. Call
it
me
is
Dan."
Yeah,
Nope.
it's just
His
weird.
dad's just like, "Okay, I'll call you whatever the fuck you want. Just stop
that's-
stealing shit from people.
If you would
Stop
have
robbing
given me,
people."
if you would have given me a multiple choice and had that been the thing, I would have picked the other option. Because like, what does he say in this moment? Like, I would not have pictured him going, you know what, Dad? Call me Dan.
Call me Dan.
It's such a weird fucking thing. And I think the hilarity of it, what adds to the hilarity is the name Dan.
Yeah, totally.
As a
perfect.
word, as a sound, it's such
Yeah.
it's such a bizarre choice. It's really weird. Don't call me Bobby, call me Robert. Something.
I mean, Rob.
Andy,
You're like,
Andy, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Oh man, it's kind of heartbreaking because in my mind's eye, as a
Yeah.
child,
Perfect.
having the child memory I thought this movie was way fucking cooler than it really is. And I add a lot of, and a lot of that is really due to the darkness of it, the grittiness of those later scenes. Those are the ones that really stick out in my mind. What I don't remember and what I didn't remember was these sort of carnival classical music playing when they're fighting.
Oh yeah.
And it's all whimsical. Ding, 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 ding. There's like really bizarre music choices throughout this whole movie. When they hit with the serious 90s synth, that's when it's dope. And I love that shit. But for a lot of the other scenes, it's almost as if the director purposely made it shitty because he couldn't get his vision, because he wanted it to be this really dark, gritty version of the Ninja Turtles, like what you're mentioning with the comics. So he was like, oh, you want this to be for kids? Okay, let me just grab, free license song right here. And it's this bizarre piece of music that just doesn't fit. And all the turtles are doing their slapsticky shit, which we're kind of used to, but those scenes just don't work at all. I, for whatever reason, remember Raphael's leaving and that the infighting that they had and being on the roof. I remember that being like so emotionally impactful as a kid.
I think you're thinking about a different movie. No future spoilers, but
no,
what you just described is a different movie.
Well, I remember the part
wrap stuff on a roof.
I remember the part where he's sitting in, like he's like watching over him, and I remember that being like really emotional, and like Raph getting thrown, like him getting thrown through the window. You're just like, what a weird moment.
No. Like I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's this
talking
movie.
about different things then.
Yeah, I just think like the moment where they have that fight or whatever, and he goes up on the roof and then gets, all the Foot Clan or whatever comes after him. I remember that moment being way scarier and hopeless than it really was. And I don't know. It's just, I had this movie was all like rose-colored glasses for me, or lenses, or whatever the hell you call it. I just thought this movie was way darker and shit. And then eventually when they go off to that cottage and April's drawing like the little sketches of him, like all of that shit I kind of enjoy. I liked seeing him in that state. I like having these sort of reflective moments with them and seeing them just farting around on the run. But yeah, man, this movie misses so much. And again, it's hard to say that because it's for kids, right? Like, we enjoyed this shit as kids. We enjoyed the silly bullshit and the ninja. What do they say? Ninjutsu. It's just like, like all that shit. Just like you want it to be better, and in your mind, it was so much better than it really is.
But it's so true.
It was still kind of disappointing
because even those moments when you watch them with the way they're lit and then the context of the movie can come off as kind of twisted. We're like, what is the tone that we're going for here? Because it's just so funky, man.
It's two movies, Nick.
I would love to see the original director's cut of this movie because I think it actually probably would be much better. I know it wouldn't be humorous, but I would love to see exactly what you're talking about. Because for me, those moments do work when there's a hype moment where they actually start fighting, as like kicking the shit out of people, and you get that synth or like the TMNT sort of like theme. Yeah. I wish the whole movie was like that, or go the opposite way where it is really just kind of zany and plucky and well lit and kind of silly, which I think we're probably going to get in the next two. But I honestly don't remember Secret of the Ooze or Turtles in Time at all.
I think just the scenes in that abandoned house feel like a different movie with April O'Neil narrating over them. And
where's the narration come from? Nobody narrates the rest of the movie.
It's and so bizarre.
It's been 3 hours since we left the city.
He got our
well, and the dynamic between April O'Neil and Casey Jones is so weird too.
It is very weird.
Like, I don't know. This movie was a lot better to me in memory than rewatching it today, and that kind of made me a little sad.
So, Joey, you've never seen this movie.
No,
you've never
have
seen
not.
any of the Ninja Turtles movies. You're familiar with the cartoon, so you are a newcomer to this. What was your take?
It's so interesting to hear you guys talk about it because I don't have that like lens of nostalgia to go with it. And I don't know if it's just the fact that everybody's always talked about how bad the movies are. So I had like rock bottom expectations. I had a lot of fun. It's weird and it doesn't make any sense really on like a few different levels, but I had a fun time and like I giggled. I specifically wrote down that like when they're doing that tequila scene at the beginning, I was like, you know what? Fuck, I am in.
Yeah.
Like this is weird and goofy, but I am in. Yes,
Now,
Nick.
Joey, can I ask you? So that was the part you were in. Did you stay in during the Shredder Splinter rat fight where the rat just jumps at his face and scratches his eye? Did that part not take you out of the movie, or was that like double down?
I mean, it's just all over the place. It's all over the place. I don't the Casey Jones and April O'Neil thing makes zero sense, and they have no chemistry in the part where they're like in the kitchen and she's like rubbing whatever lotion and he's just like no and slams her on the chair. I was like, oh, this is some weird enemies to lovers arc that I am not really
They
following.
didn't quite nail that arc, yeah.
No, but I do love the actor that plays Casey Jones. So
Elias
I was like,
Cote,
oh,
is that his name?
Yeah, he's in
it.
one of those like procedurals that I love. But
I don't think the first time we've seen him in an interview. Because I'm pretty
Really?
sure there's been another episode of interview where like, and that guy played Casey Jones in
You're
Ninja Turtles.
right. What was that movie?
I don't remember what it was, but that's definitely
I'll look it up. I'll figure it out.
Very cool.
interesting. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. Definitely thought that the whole Vanilla Ice thing was this one. So I was waiting all movie for it.
No.
This
And
was
then we got
MC
to the
Hammer,
end.
baby.
And
In
then at the end, I
credits.
was like, well, I guess this is not that movie. But yeah, it's weird, but I can totally, like, being able to just think back to, like, mid-90s, like, I would have been all about this. And the amount of nostalgia I got when that New Line Cinema intro opens was like, holy shit, I have not heard this in so long. I didn't realize that they were, like, not attached to great movies, and that maybe makes sense as to why I like so many New Line Cinema movies. But yeah, it's fun. I'm excited to watch the rest of them if they're all, like, kind of weird and potentially better than this, at least for these ones.
Oh, the next one gets real weird.
Yeah,
Spoiler.
no one said better. No one said better.
Kev, you already talked a little bit about stuff, but like, what are your thoughts on the movie overall?
I mean, honestly, like these movies are fantastic. Or this movie, I enjoyed the hell out of it. Yeah, does it have like the moment where it cuts to VO? It's just like, oh man, they're trying so hard, but like still, the when she's sketching Leonardo, there's something about that scene that like I
loved it,
legitimately,
Kevin.
I'm like, it's beautiful, like because there's so much emotion going on, you know. Also,
seeing the
why
brother,
would you-
like how sad he is seeing Raph like trying to come
his
back
brother.
and trying to heal. Like I love that scene, Kevin.
But also seeing but there's goofiness like tied in where like it cuts to Raphael sitting in the bathtub, very uncomfortable, and it's just like that's the best they could do, huh? All right. You know? But yeah, I like this. I like this movie. There's a lot of things that are like, this is wild. Like, why is was the cop in it with Shredder? Like, I don't understand why he didn't take April's tip and then got mad at her. But whatever. Like, it's just there's a lot of things that like you ignore because there's so many cool things. Where it's like an army of foot like soldiers that are like young, like teenage kids,
Impressionable teens.
Yeah, it's so
But
cool.
also,
and then,
like,
they're all getting
well-trained ninja.
brainwashed. Yeah. Well, they're medium
that's
trained
what-
ninja. Remember the scene where Raphael's fighting them and is like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you guys
and
took
just
like
making fun of
the
'em.
accelerated course."
I
Yeah.
love that.
Also,
I mean,
like-
I love the way the movie starts. I love all that stuff with where like it's just the fun with the cameras where like the guy delivers the thing and then it pans back to his truck and it's all empty. Just shit like that. It's super fun.
It's super funny seeing the money exchange hands between a bunch of delinquent teens, and then the last one is
a
this like
ninja.
ninja
Ninja, like,
bracer.
yeah. In the middle of the street. It's just in the corner of the street.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had a
God.
blast watching this movie. I really, really, really enjoyed myself. It is actually way better than I expected it to be. Which again, not saying it's good. I just had a really good time. I think that it was in and out in a fast enough clip that I'm like, nothing was offensively bad in this hour and a half. But Nick said it really best for me, which is this movie just kind of is. Like, it doesn't really do much with even what it has. And that's, I think, its biggest letdown for me is the characterization sucks. And like, we are bringing in a lot of what we think of Leo and Donnie and Mikey and Raph and all this stuff to add on top of it. But when you watch this movie as an origin story of these characters, you don't really get much of that. Like,
Yeah.
Raph says damn a lot. We get that. Mikey and Donnie are kind of just
The
bros.
same.
You get that, which is
Yeah.
cool, but they are indistinguishable characters. Like, you don't really get any actual uniqueness to them. And I think that's weird when all Ninja Turtles really are is just a couple surface level unique personalities. Andy.
Joey, do you know
Yes.
what their 4 personalities are?
No. I feel like Tim and I had this conversation at some point during quarantine
see,
where
okay.
he was trying to get me and G to name all of the Ninja Turtles, and I couldn't put them with their colors for the
Like
life of me.
even based on this movie, you don't think you could kind of say Leonardo is blah blah blah, Raph is blah blah blah.
Which one do you think's the leader?
I don't think I could because they
Yeah.
Okay,
I,
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
totally
they-
agree with Tim.
like,
Tim,
I
you're making
wanna
like
s-
you're making a
yeah.
perfect point that
Very,
like
very
they
valid
don't
points.
drill into that at all like the cartoons do, or even the more recent movies or the animated movie, the one that came out in like
Anything.
08 or whatever, 07, yeah.
And
that's
totally. But what's really funny to me is like the big crux of this movie too. It's like if you are trying to like boil down the theme of all this stuff, it's like again we bring in knowing it's about family and brotherhood and all this stuff, but really the movie doesn't back that up at all. Besides the farmhouse scene, and it's like okay, Leo's looking over Raph. They care about each other. I love the scene of them at the campfire. I legitimately think that is like perfectly done. Very very good stuff. But then you get to the end fight situation. And it's like, oh, how are they going to beat Shredder? Are they going to work as a team? No, Splinter's here.
Nope,
Splinter's just here.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, there should have been some shit where Splinter gets knocked down. They then need to work together, not run at them one at a time to hit Shredder. They didn't do that. Like, it blows my mind. Like, that's all the Ninja Turtles are.
They had time to call a TV timeout and talk to each other while Shredder's in the back. Like with his corner man, and you know he's getting his new mouthpiece in, and they're like, "Yeah, good punch right there." Shredder. Like that was really bizarre. But I totally agree. Yeah, there needs to be the moment of in the forest when they are away, realizing this is where we get closer. This is where we fight together and learn to fight as a unit. And then when they're getting their asses beat, say, "Hey, remember all that shit we learned in the forest when we saw that blue fire? Nothing cooler than blue fire, by the way." Like as a kid, I thought
so true.
Blue fire is the coolest imagery of all time. But yeah, that scene, there's so many missed opportunities in a lot of those fight scenes for sure. But Joey, by the way, Leonardo's the leader, blue.
Mm-hmm.
Raphael, the dickhead, kind of like always angry,
Vigilante.
shit, red. Vigilante, the red.
Thank you.
Michelangelo, orange, is the goofball. He's always joking around.
Here for a good
Nunchucks.
time.
Donatello, I don't know if
the
he was
nerd. He
always
was
like
the
this, but
gadget
he's
guy.
always been like the smarter, kind of more.
He makes machines.
The
strategic.
intellectual.
Yeah, he's always like working on gadgetry and shit like that. But that's always been their vibe. And then, no, never mind, spoilers. I don't want to get into it.
It's great stuff. But what I do love is, in terms of characters, my favorite thing about this movie, Hard Stop, is New York City as a character. And I think that is something that I've always resonated with since I was a little kid. Like, this movie was my introduction to New York. And I'll never forget going to New York for the first time and being like, Ninja Turtles fucking nailed it. Like, everything
Steam
about
comes
it
out of the
steam
sewer.
actually fucking comes out of the
Everywhere's
sewer.
dirty,
Like,
yeah.
I was shocked to see that, in the magazine stands and just kind of like the vibe, the taxis everywhere. And like what Nick was talking about, or Andy was talking about, I think the synth score, like when that stuff's playing, it's like that Ghostbusters score that, you and Greg are always doing. But it's like, there's just something that just really, really works. And like the seedy underbelly of these kids living in this thing, and the cops are corrupt and they're working with the news channel and all this stuff. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. But then it's like, there's just a lot of things on top of it that are just kind of bizarre choices. And I think that the ways that this movie works great is the characters look awesome. I really think that a lot of the stylistic choices that they made with the costumes and the way that they shot it, a fact that I got here is to help disguise how cumbersome and slow the Turtles' costumes were. Dialogue scenes were shot at 23 frames per second. So they were played at the normal speed of 24 frames. They appeared a bit sharper.
Oh, that's cool.
For the same reason, fight scenes were shot at 22 frames to kind of give them a unique look.
them
And
up,
like those little things, I think they clearly made design choices to make something that doesn't work. And I think it does. Having said that, it's a bizarre choice from the get-go for a movie about Ninja Turtles with weapons assigned to them.
Yep.
To them not really have cool action scenes and not use their weapons pretty much whatsoever, right? And a lot of that is because of the violence and because of stuff like in in some of the cuts that aren't American, they literally cut any use of the weapons. Period.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Refresh my memory. When they were, I think when in the cartoons, they fought a lot of robots, right? Or like a lot of, I don't think I think the Foot Clan were people, but I remember there being like robots
No, I
that
think
they could cut through. And do,
I think they are robots.
Were
the
they
Foot
robots?
Clan
Yeah.
In the cartoon. Yeah.
yeah,
right?
that makes sense. And that's how they used to get
Dimension
around it,
X.
right? And if ever there had to be killing or violence or actual stuff like
The
that, it
robots
had
would
to be
just
against a
break.
robot back in the day and they just break.
I thought the Foot Clan were people. The robots is mostly. I thought that was from Turtles in Time.
And the Mausers.
I was thinking Mausers.
yeah,
Those are the ones I'm thinking. With
Mausers
Krang
are
and all
definitely
that
a
shit.
thing, but I'm pretty sure that the Foot Clan were robots. It was brought, like Krang made them, and then they had turned
Dimension
into
X.
rock monsters afterwards when Krang brings
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
army.
It gets very Power Rangers.
and
But
the
it's-
Technodrome.
It's funny. You know the thing that threw me off the most when I was a kid, though, is that for some reason, and I remember thinking, man, I just can't get past this. And I don't think I ever did, guys. They nailed the voices for 3 out of the 4 turtles. But for some reason, they made Raphael sound like John Travolta from
48-year-old.
fucking. He's like, hey, Mr. What are you doing? It's so unbelievable. And everyone else sounds like
got
teenagers.
so
And
much
he sounds
grit.
like he has been smoking cigarettes for 30 fucking years, driving a cab, and is just over it.
It's so
You don't
funny.
think he
Raph,
has
you're
been
awake.
smoking cigarettes
What's a
for,
guy
like,
gotta
the
do
last
to get
5
some
years?
food around here? It's just so
He's
bizarre.
the only one with a New York accent. He's the only one that and it was totally because I remember I can't place the voice, but in the cartoon, Raph sounded like the rest of them, right? He just kind of had a different. I don't think it was like super deep in the cartoon. But I will also give a shout out to the fact that they did one
Rob
beautiful
Paulson.
thing in this,
Yeah, Rob
and they
Paulson.
cast. Oh, it was Rob Paulson, that's right? They cast Corey Feldman as Donatello, and that's great.
Yeah.
It's funny because I agree and disagree with you. Raph's the only voice I like in this. Having said that, he does sound like a fucking adult, but it's like he's the only one that sounds what I think Raph should sound like with the New York accent and like more gruffer and saying damn a lot. But yeah, I feel like their voices all kind of blended together.
Well,
otherwise.
Tim, earlier
Even
when you
Corey
mentioned you
Feldman.
like New York City as a character, I was gonna say, oh, like just that's Raphael. Like he is New York
Straight up.
personified or
Brian
turtleified.
Altano.
But then,
Yeah.
but how does he grow up in the exact same environment as
Yeah.
the other 3? And he's the only one that has a deep New York accent.
He walks
like,
out more. He goes on taxis and he doesn't get seen in public a whole lot. It's wild.
Oh my
Trench
God.
coat.
Well,
I
and doesn't
literally-
like Michelangelo kind of have like a California like surfery?
Yeah, he's,
accent?
Yeah.
he's
New
definitely
York?
a cowabunga dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that like there's the scene where there's a taxi driver
I love that
driving
scene.
and like
What the heck
he
was that?
He's like turtle in a trench coat. Like, you still going to LaGuardia? What's up?
LaGuardia, you go to
It's like-
LaGuardia, right? Like they
it's-
just don't care. It's
yeah,
New York.
it's so much
Weird
like, hey,
shit
it's
happens.
New York. You see crazy shit here. Yeah.
I do think that was
funny,
I think that was an inspired moment because when he walks out of the movie theater, you're like, how the fuck does no one notice there's a giant turtle in a trench coat? And then you just realize, it's New York. They don't give a shit.
What
They're
a
just
cool
in their own place.
cultural and topical reference to the movie Gremlins, by the way.
Critters.
Oh, Critters, that's right. Critters, yeah.
Critters. Yeah.
Cool topical cultural moment right there to be like, oh, he saw the Critters movie.
So,
He's making
by the
fun of
way,
it.
I bet dollars to donuts. Critters was a new line to this
Oh,
movie,
sure.
right? Had to have
Oh,
been,
of
right?
course, yeah.
And they were
Well,
just
so
trying to
it's funny-
promote the hell out of it.
Nick, about that line, the taxi driver or whatever, that was an alt line that they ended up using. The original line was saying something about, oh, he has a cool car, but his outfit is a little eh. And like they were talking shit about Batman, and then the producer was like, we shouldn't do this. Like, don't leave that alone. Don't do that.
Why are we picking
That's
fights?
smart. Yeah.
Like let's not. But a couple fun facts about the cast here. Joey, did you recognize April O'Neil, the actress Judith Hoag?
No, I did
Did
not.
you recognize her as the mom from Halloween Town? Because that's exactly who she is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
funny that
fucking
that's your
crazy.
touchstone because I recognize her as the sister from Nashville.
Oh, I only watched like season 1 of that.
Well, Greg would have lost his shit at that, everyone. I'm
Greg
going to text
would've
him
gone-
right
Greg
now.
would have gone crazy.
I'm going to slack him right now.
Yeah. And she was in a movie with Robin Williams called Cadillac, and he was a super big fan of Ninja Turtles, so he like provided her with all of his comics to like study up on April, which is pretty fun.
That's
Oh
great.
my gosh.
Brian Tochi was the voice of Leonardo. He's Toshiro Takashi from Revenge of the Nerds, Nick.
I love it. I know.
Oh,
I looked him
wow.
up and I was like, what else has this guy been in? And when I saw that, I'm like, wow. By the way, his voice is so good for like cartoon VO. And I
Yeah.
swear, I only saw the top level when I Googled him. of like the first like 4 movies that came up, but I'm willing to bet he has a long lineage of like VO for like cartoons and stuff because he just
Oh, yeah,
sounds
he does.
like that character. Okay.
He's got that youthful voice for sure.
Perfect. It's so
yeah.
perfect.
Very bright.
Then we got Robbie Rist, who was Mikey. He's cousin Oliver from the Brady Bunch. I don't know if you remember cousin Oliver, but he was a
like
cast
the
member.
OG or the movie.
The OG.
Oh, Jesus. I
Wasn't
didn't
it-
even
wasn't he a
in
drug kid-
motherfucking
druggy kid or something?
Balto.
Oh, wow.
He was in Balto? Hell yeah.
Yeah. He
Show
was
some respect.
Balto.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
And then yeah, Corey Feldman was Donnie. Of course, Corey Feldman, Gremlins, Goonies, Stand By Me. He said he was offered only $1,500 to do voice work for the movie. He accepted, believing the producers who told him that this was only a small, low-budget independent film, and hoped that it would have moderate success on VHS.
Damn.
Yeah, he got screwed on that one.
Yeah, real bad.
Dude,
And
that's
then-
the funny thing is like you would think if they did this movie today, they would obviously like if Corey Feldman was in it, they would have gotten Corey Haim, they would have gotten they would have gotten Anthony Michael Hall, they would have tried to get just a huge voice cast for these guys. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's
That's actually a good point though, because I guess they did do more today and they didn't cast they kind of cast no names, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. But a fun fact that this semi-future spoilers here. The Josh Payas as Raphael is the only actor who both physically and voices the turtle. So he was the only one that was actually in the suit. The other guys weren't. But the stuntman, any fight scene with Donatello was Ernie Reyes Jr. in the suit.
Bro.
Mortal Kombat.
Who comes back as one of the main character of the second movie.
The second movie, yeah.
Oh,
He was
never mind.
also
I was thinking of the Mortal Kombat mocap guy. Never mind.
No, he was
that's
Three
somebody
Ninjas. Was Ernie Reyes Jr.? What was he was a lead in another one of those movies, like Surf Ninjas or Three Ninjas.
There was
Ninjas, right?
nobody cooler than future
Yep.
spoilers for Joey. Never mind.
Dude,
Yeah,
Surf
so he was
Ninjas
perfect.
is so
He was-
cool. I forgot about that. It just came
I
back to my mind.
I'm not a huge. I don't really care about future spoilers. I know that
Rob
it's like
Schneider.
shitty of the
Joey,
show.
it's really important to the lore. I don't want to ruin this for you.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
but
forget
anyway,
about it
I
in
thought
like
that
the
was
next
pretty
7
fun.
hours.
That's really cool. I love that.
I did not know that at all.
How did I forget
go for it,
that Rob Schneider's was in Surf Ninjas?
Oh my
Never
god!
never
Did
forget.
You pluralize
Never
his
forget.
Last name
Yes.
Rob
course.
Schneider's.
Yeah.
All of the
Did
Rob
I?
Schneiders is.
All right, whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
It doesn't matter.
And
That's
then the
how I'm
last
saying it
thing
from now on.
before we get into this plot here is that there's a shit ton of deleted scenes that actually flesh a lot of things out and make things make a little more sense. You can find them on the Blu-rays and stuff. That give the four turtles a lot more character development and expand a lot on April and Casey's romance. That puts the scenes in a different context. But most of these are in the farmhouse, and some interesting things there. There's an extended training sequence where Leo proves a point by turning his mask around and fighting blind, followed by the other turtles taking turns doing the same. Various scenes of the turtles training on their own or in different pairs to master the technique Leo taught them shows up earlier. This would come back later in the movie for them to defeat Shredder, but they didn't do that. And then some of the April and Casey scenes involve him trying to help her with the stuck truck door. There's a lot more flirting and stuff. And when you see her drawing the picture of the turtles, she also draws Casey, and there's some moments between them kind of growing that a little bit more. And then a game of Ninja Hot Potato where the turtles toss around an apple and the holder has to defend it against the other three while taking a bite out of it. It makes the later scene where Raph finishes off an apple after defeating a squad of foot ninjas a callback as opposed to just being really random.
Damn, let's see the director's cut. Let's bring this
Right?
back. Damn.
And then the
dude.
last fact I have here that I think is actually really cool is for the flashback of the turtles growing up, the director was going for a retro look and decided to shoot it on Super 8 film. That's why it looked so fucking shitty. Because
Terrible.
these-
Like home
these
movies
scenes-
of baby turtles.
Exactly, because they used real turtles as well as a mini puppet young Splitter. So they were really time-consuming scenes, and everyone on the team was mad for these decisions.
Yeah, not worth it. Not worth it at all.
And having said that, Andy, hit it.
This is the plot for Ninja Turtles. Not many things rhyme with Ninja Turtles. I didn't have a lot of time for rehearsal. Red is for Raphael. Donnie's purple.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was amazing, Andy.
That was so good.
The 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Tim, we got to start with the one word that just sums it all up. Cowabunga.
Oh, no.
I made it funny.
I made it funny.
Oh my
I made
god.
it
No,
funny.
Kevin, it's got to be It's got to be Cowabunga because to me, this is a perfect example of how they just totally missed the mark of translating this from the cartoon to movies. They just randomly throw in Cowabunga at the end. And you're like, sure.
I like
Cowabunga.
Are you kidding me? I fucking loved it. I love them having all the radicals and shit throughout it, and then at the end they'd be like, it doesn't feel right, and then coming up with it, and it being Splinter, that's a win in my book.
Splinter has a sense of humor, but he's also very serious, and I appreciate that. And I'm mentor.
Terrifying.
Can
we agree he's terrifying looking?
Oh
Could
yeah.
we,
Terrifying.
first off, how
But
fucking
believable.
hardcore was New York back in the day, where you have a group of children who see a giant rat chained to a fence and are like, this is New York. There's a giant talking rat. It's terrifying. And everyone's like,
you
oh yeah, that
imagine?
rat. Yeah, we've seen crazier shit. Yeah, I saw a shark steal a woman's wallet the other day.
Can you imagine how terrible he probably smelled when Casey
Oh,
Jones was like pulling him
stinky.
away? I was just like, oh god damn, dude, you're a rat who's been down here tied up for I don't know how many days. It's just good shower.
We
dude.
start on the tough streets of New York. April O'Neil reports on a series of silent crimes that are going around the city. Just a crime wave happening, but nobody knows what's happening. We see a kid named Danny boost someone's wallet and hand it to a ninja. Then a dude gets all the contents from his truck stolen, and I love that shot. We talked about that already, where it pans over and it pans
Yep.
back and the truck's gone. Or the stuff's gone. What's up, Kev?
You like condense that scene a lot. Where what we actually
Yeah, we don't
see-
really need the specifics of all
Well,
of the people getting
but just 'cause,
pickpocketed.
Nick, it's ridiculous. Someone gets pickpocketed, and then
And
this
they hand
fucking
it off to
wallet
multiple-
changes hands 15 goddamn times.
That's how they got to do it, man.
It's
That's how they got to do
absurd.
it. It's one of those things where you go, like, you follow this through, right? If the turtles weren't a thing, do you think that Shredder at some point would be like someone does the accounting, and at the end of the year, he's like, wait, we made what? 10 grand? That's it? All we made was 10 grand? And Tatsu's like, dude, we're fucking picking people. We're not selling Coke. We're picking people's pockets. Like, this is hard work.
I mean, they're also cleaning out like truck full of like I don't know stereos,
they
speakers.
stole an old woman's television set that's probably worth
But that was-
$1.
Nick, you know that was a for fun stealing thing, right?
That was just to
Bet you
piss
that-
people
yeah.
off.
Yeah,
That's
they were
practice.
like, "Oh, you know, be cool having a TV in that one, like I don't know, underneath
In our
the
bathroom.
skate ramp."
Yeah, I get it. That TV would look real good. And they're like, yeah, let's just steal it. She'll never run after us. April, back at their HQ, they eat Whoppers and repackage the stolen goods. April leaves the news station and spots. Oh, excuse me, we missed something. Oh no, we didn't miss anything. April leaves
Just
the news
doesn't
station
make a ton of sense.
and spots a rat, and she's like, "Oh my god, a rat!" And that's foreshadowing, Tim. That's how they do it. She
It's
freaks
also just
out
New York.
and heads to her truck where she discovers it's being robbed by some tough guys, and they immediately attack her. But oh my god! And then a sigh hits the. I think that's what they're called, right? Sighs. He had hits the one and only light bulb in all of this entire block of New York, completely turning out the lights. And then they get all attacked. And then when they come
so
to,
badass. Like
So fucking
this
cool.
sequence is the coolest shit ever, especially as a kid. Even now, like I'm getting goosebumps just hearing the kind of the music sort of swell, and then the like. Oh my gosh, just the rush of nostalgia of remembering the screen going black and hearing them all just fighting, just audio. And you're just like, oh my God, dude, this is like a Ninja Turtles movie.
Little
They
did
made a movie. Like, it's so awesome, dude.
little
So
did you
badass.
know, you were like, wow, that's such a cool way to introduce the characters. Meanwhile, the director's like, we have $3 left to finish this movie. How do we do it? Just break the light bulb. We'll do it all in ADR. When the cops come, they find April sitting next to her tied up assailants. Raph watches from the sewers as she discovers his missing weapon, and then he goes, "Oh man!" And he says it about
Damn.
14 more times. Then we get the best. Oh God!
So weird.
Hey, bro, why are you screaming on the roof? Go to bed.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut up. And then Andy, we get the best theme song the early 1990 had to offer. I don't know why. I love this fucking theme song.
Oh, I fucking love it.
I
dude.
love
the
it, dude.
score of this movie when it's not the fucking carnival bullshit is fantastic. And Andy, I didn't want to interrupt you earlier, but the carnival bullshit was another thing of them trying to lessen the violence.
Yeah, lighten the mood.
Like it was literally like that was not the director's call. Like
Yeah,
he
this
wanted
is-
it to be
this
more
is-
fun and cool.
This is definitely one of those movies you cannot blame it on the director, because if he got yanked from the project, that makes a lot of sense. This smacks of producers coming in and trying to make this way more marketable and way more like and just completely screwing it up, which happens time and time again. So I'd love to see the director's cut of this. I wish they'd put that out, but they never will. No money in that. Anyway, the boys return home to report back to Splinter, and they say all the things you hope they would say. And then Splinter tells them never to stray away from the shadows, and then they always have to disappear without a trace. And then he looks at Raph, and then Raph's like, and then he freaks out. And then for some reason sounds like Vinnie Barbarino says, I lost Messiah, but I could get it back. I could get it back. And he's like, no, it doesn't. Who cares? It doesn't matter. I could get it back. Anyway.
Mr. Miyagi.
Hey, Mr. Miyagi, I could get my side back. It's going to be okay.
Bizarre. It's the weirdest thing ever, man. He's 15 years old.
I know. Oh God. Anyways, Splinter continues his lesson, but Mikey orders pizza in the background. He says, "One day I will be gone. Use my teachings wisely." And you're like, "Oh no, is Splinter gonna die in this?" No, actually, he's gonna come back and beat Shredder for you. That's cool. Instead, he advises them to meditate, but instead, Mikey and Donnie put on tequila and they sing the words ninjutsu instead of tequila. And that one got a laugh out of me for sure when I was a kid. And I'm not gonna lie, Tim.
So funny.
I laughed at it yesterday when I watched it.
Can we just be clear here? Is Andy the only one that hated this? Because I fucking loved it too.
I loved it.
Look. I don't hate that they did it. I hate that it went directly into it. Like, you gotta have some lead time of like, it's time to meditate. I'm your master, and maybe show, Leo kind of like doing this thing, and then show Raph, and then like, where's Donnie? Where's Michelangelo? Right. And then you hear the music hit or
camera
something.
pans over.
It can't
they're
just
not
get
there.
immediately into it. Like,
That
Leo's
takes
just
time.
Raph dresses in a trench coat so he can go to a movie. Donnie and Mikey.
So many questions about this. I wrote notes about this section.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I had questions, and which they ended up answering later. But I was like, in this cinematic TMNT universe, are there just giant turtles walking around everywhere, and this is normal?
No.
Like, no one. I guess that's just the thing is I don't understand New York and just their acceptance of not giving a fuck about anything that's going around them.
This comparison a lot less severe, right? But it's people not recognizing that Clark Kent and Superman. It's that sort of thing. If you have a trench coat on, if you put on
he's not wearing shoes. You just have giant turtle feet.
If you put on a baseball hat with glasses, we don't know you're Captain America, Steve Rogers.
Exactly.
That's all it takes. Yeah.
Exactly. Donnie and Mikey wait for a pizza man who was late, so they get $3 off. And I love this scene, but it always gives me anxiety when they turn the fucking pizza upside down and slide it through the grate. I'm like, that toppings are gone on this thing now. Now they're just mashed against the top of the box.
They probably got like four of those little tables.
That's it,
Kevin, you and I both know those tables can only do so much.
They can only do so much. You're right. You're right.
Raph, I love this whole scene. I wish there was more of that kind of humor in it too. But the guy's like, wait, I couldn't find the place. And he's like, where the hell's 3.5 or whatever it is? Right here, dude. Let's see. Raph leaves the movie.
Also,
Critters.
it's a load of shit. We saw him pull up. It wasn't like he was walking around for 5 minutes.
Exactly. He's a
looking
liar,
for the place. Liar. Yeah. But they didn't tip him, which tip your drivers. Tip your drivers, guys.
No, dude, he was late. You get nothing.
He was
How
like
are they supposed
3
to learn?
minutes. He was 3 minutes late. Take
man.
the 3 minutes off, but then be like, hey, here's a twofer. That's for you. That's for you.
No, but the $10 is for the pizza, right?
Yeah.
Like or the $10 is for him anyway, because the pizza should be free.
No, the pizza, if it was late, it was $3
off.
Oh, I thought it was just free.
Yeah. It's funny because like I don't ever remember. I know this is like, I feel like this is a trope of the 80s where pizza delivery services would do like 30 minutes or less, or if it's not, it's free. But I don't ever remember actually being able to take advantage of that. And we ordered a lot of pizza in the Scarpino household.
I did that in the late 2000s,
Was that a real thing?
Early aughts, yeah.
But it was like
so
an
like
hour,
if it was
right?
just an hour late, it was free.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I don't remember that.
I love the line though. The wise man say, I forget exactly what it is, but like, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for pizza, for late pizza.
Yeah, for late pizza.
I fucking love it.
It's good. Raph leaves the movie Critters, and eventually and then to Joey's point, nobody in New York either sees or gives a shit that he's clearly a giant turtle. Then he stops some purse snatchers, and they head into the park. So Casey Jones can make nothing but hockey puns in this scene. And here's such an interesting... So I know they wanted to get the main cast in the first movie, right? Casey Jones, obviously a staple of the show. April O'Neil, staple of the show. But why does Casey Jones need to be in this movie? Is it just so that they don't have to broach the topic of any sort of potential romance between April and a giant turtle? Is that why?
Doesn't stop them.
No, it doesn't.
From a
Because the
giant
turtle,
teenage turtle. It's
Yeah,
problematic from
yeah.
any way you look at it. And
Well,
they
they're,
don't
you know,
really shy away from it.
yeah, they don't shy away from it at all. But so that was so weird because I was like, you don't need Casey Jones doesn't need to be in this movie. In fact, he gets in the way of the plot.
Nick, who else is going to be the scapegoat to, destroy evidence of a corpse landing in a trash compactor? Like nobody else is going to do that.
Good
The
point.
turtles
You're not
aren't going to
thinking
do
about
that.
the
April's
corpse.
not going to do
Turtles
that.
are too
I'm not
pure
thinking
for
the right
that.
way.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking the right way. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm clear
that's
now.
also Nick.
Scapegoat.
I'm with you in the sense that like not only should he have not been in this movie, but him being in the movie makes it worse because it's just there's even more characters that aren't getting development. And
Yeah.
like we watched this movie and this is Gia's introduction to the Ninja Turtles, by the way. No fucking clue before going into this about anything. And it's like, I was worried. I'm like, how's the origin story going to go? And this movie does what it does. Whatever.
No
it
origin
explains
story.
it the way that it makes sense, which is, there was some fucking
Right.
oozing down there, fucking mutant turtles. Like,
But
all you
that's-
need to know. But you know what it doesn't explain? Why there's this guy that uses sports things to fight in the streets.
He's a vigilante. What do you mean?
Fuck? It's like there's like somehow that's more unbelievable and random than these fucking Ninja Turtles because at least they got some type of origin story with Splinter. Casey's just a fucking dude.
But
that
like,
is a wackadoo out here. in the
He's
streets.
just a vigilante, right? A vigilante.
yeah, he's just a vigilante.
Yeah.
It's New York,
he's just
right?
a vigilante.
Listen, New York being overwhelmed.
Sports-themed vigilante.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed by criminal ninjas, okay? And you gotta use what you got at your disposal. Casey looked around and said, I am a hockey coach, a pee-wee hockey coach. I have hockey gear. I'm gonna throw it on. And I will tell you this,
Yes, Nick,
kudos
you
to
nailed it.
them for committing to the Casey Jones over-exaggerated hockey mask that he wears in just
love it.
one
love it.
scene.
So
No, he
Just
wears it
one.
twice, 2 scenes.
Does he put it back
looks
on?
No, it's twice.
It's twice.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
So cool.
But yeah, look, backstory for Casey Jones right here.
Yeah.
He was going to be in the NHL, but he tore his shoulder. He doesn't really tell you why he tore his shoulder and got hurt. He was going to be a pro, but it's because he was
He's
trying
like
to stop a
one
mug.
throwaway line, right?
He was trying to
about
stop
it?
a mugging or whatever, and this. No, I'm
He's
just like
this
making it up
Joey.
right now.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's making
Yeah,
this
making
Joey.
it up. He was
They
trying
do,
to
they
stop a
do
mug.
talk
line
about
about
it, but they
injury.
talk in vague terms. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very vague terms. But like that would make all of this cooler. That's why he's a vigilante. He does it because he tried to I should be pro, but might as well fight crime because I learned I'm pretty decent at it. Did tear my labrum. Is your labrum in your shoulder, by the way?
I don't know. I don't think so. I saw
Science.
Abrams.
Men have
them.
Science with Kev.
I ain't never
Where's
heard of no
labrum?
labrum.
Oh, okay. Let me look it up.
It is your shoulder. You're right. I'm
Is
sorry.
it?
There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
Labrum, shoulder.
Wow.
Good job.
Big.
Wow.
Huge stuff.
Is Andy a vigilante?
Andy, did you play hockey? So Tim, that brings up a very interesting point that we're going to talk about later, but we'll just bring it up now because I feel like we need to. Your big problem is Casey Jones's backstory, not the fact that they decided to retcon Splinter's backstory for absolutely no reason and take him from being a human being that gets turned into a rat to a pet rat that learned ninjutsu by watching someone else do it from his cage.
Gonna be honest with you, Nick. I kind of prefer it.
Yep.
Oh my God!
Damn,
You're out
Tim.
of your gourd. You're
Tim,
out of
I
your
was gonna
gourd.
say the same thing. I was gonna. This makes a lot more sense to me, personally. Like,
I hate
because
it.
I feel like if I turned
it.
into a rat, I would be trying to turn into a human again, and he never did in the cartoon. He was content being a rat. There were a couple
had
of
a better
episodes
sniffer.
where they had a solution and he was all excited, but like that would be the only thing I would be working for. I want to
Yeah.
be human again.
It's just so weird to me that they changed that because it really makes no sense and is very odd. And then they have the scene where the rat puppet gets thrown at someone's face, and that is even more odd.
This episode is brought to you by Kinda Funny Reactions. It's our show that we do weekly sometimes multiple times a week, covering, reviewing, recapping, reacting to the latest in movie and TV. Whether it's a movie trailer, a new episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch, which episode 1 and 2 right now, we have our thoughts over there. If you want any of the MCU shows, Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, all that stuff, it's there. We were even doing some movies like The Mitchells versus the Machines, which is out on Netflix now, and you can catch our thoughts on Kind of Funny Reactions, a show you can get on youtube.com/kindoffunny or podcast services. Search for Kind of Funny Reactions. Please subscribe. Please leave good reviews. Please thumbs up, 5 stars, all the good stuff. 10 out of 10. It's all good stuff that helps us a lot, the algorithms and whatnot. But Kind of Funny Reactions is something that we want to grow and we want to push further. And the more people watching and listening, the more things we'll react to. That's just kind of how it works. We've been doing the Bad Batch for Star Wars. I'm not sure if we're going to do it weekly. If the reaction is there, we will. So if that sounds like something you're into, please check it out. But we're hoping to do a lot more reviews and stuff going forward. So please subscribe to that. Or if YouTube's more your thing, youtube.com/kindoffunny. Kind of Funny Reactions. It's a damn good time. No, I mean, not to go down too much of a rabbit hole here, but like, what made sense about what you think or what you remember his origin story being?
So I
remember it being.
What I remember his origin story being is that he was a human. Shredder was his friend. They fought over the love of this woman, and that turned them away. And then he got hit by the ooze and melded with the rat and became a giant rat thing. At the same time, the turtles were hit by the ooze and grew up. And so he was able to train them because he was a trained ninja with 30 years of experience who was teaching other people and could teach these people. So to me, that makes sense as a person who's like, taking martial arts. I'm like, all right, yeah, this guy's got training. He could train you to do it. But in this one, they're like, I watched from my cage. By the way, rats.
I'm a rat.
Don't live that long.
I'm not a mutant rat. I'm not a mutant rat.
I'm just a rat. So I have the ability as a rat.
Just a rat.
I'm just
anybody can cook, guys.
So I'm a rat with a rat brain. And by the way, rat brains, yeah, you can train rats, right? Kevin, can you train a rat to do some stuff?
Yeah.
Can you train a rat to throw a fucking high kick perfect form?
So.
I don't think so. I don't think you can get a rat to retain that level of information for something as complex as a martial art.
Here's the thing that always bothered me in the cartoon show. The turtles become human, like, mixtures because they're near a human. But the human becomes a rat, even though he's with turtles
near the
more
turtles.
often than he's with rats
in
around.
different ways.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
They're very clear about the way the mutagen works. But
we're gonna see it. Maybe we'll see it later. Maybe we'll see
he should
someone
be part human, part rat, part turtle.
Part turtle
is what you're saying.
I mean, I don't think we needed the rat. Is what I'm saying. He could have just turned part turtle.
We'll see about that, Kev.
And that would have been fine.
Now,
that would have made more sense.
Canonical origin is that he was just a rat.
The
cartoon
origin.
changed that. Yeah, in the comics and in all
that makes more sense.
All the good comic stories.
I mean, that makes sense because if they're turtles that get bigger and become human-like, and he's a rat that gets bigger and becomes human-like, that makes sense. But it breaks my brain how this rat had the capability of learning this art of ninjutsu.
My favorite thing
English.
is that Nick is so focused on the ninjutsu aspect of it, which is just my favorite. That is such a Nick thing.
Here's the
Nick's
thing.
In the 80s, scared of lasers, scared of quicksand, scared of all that
Quicksand
stuff.
and
But there
children.
is a respect that you need to have for the
Yep,
teachings.
that's
Better
the
have
thing.
some fucking
That's the thing.
respect, bro.
He's like, I know how hard it is to be a
Nick, I'm
trained
right with you,
warrior, and I know that a rat can't do it by casually watching.
I mean, I'm just saying, you guys are like all those
lessens
people
his martial
online.
arts.
Selling me on this. I don't know about the rest of you.
You're like all those people online that like watch videos of how to fight and be like, I can fight right now. I know how to fight.
Yeah,
I saw someone throw a punch one time on TikTok. Anyway, I digress.
Rat, yeah, it'd be like a rat watching golf and being like, I learned how to play golf as a rat, but I'm a rat, and how am I standing on my hind legs?
But you don't know.
Kicks
Maybe the
and punches and
mutagen
blocking.
made him smart.
Like at least in Ratatouille, he was watching the show and like doing the lessons with Gusto.
But also, that's like that's the animals The animals have personalities in that movie, so that's
Yes.
whatever.
Different rat logic.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Remy could kick Splinter's ass. Anyway,
All
I
I'm
move
saying
on.
is like the rat that crossed by April O'Neil was like learning how to become a reporter, right?
Yeah, exactly. They're
And
gonna
if
hire
it
him
only
next
got in
Channel
touch
6.
with the mutagen, it would have become a really good
Just
reporter. Like
really
April
great.
O'Neil.
Pulitzer
Yeah.
Prize winning. I will say this. I just talked a lot of shit about Casey Jones being in this, but my favorite line in this whole movie is based on the fact that they're fighting and he pulls out a Jose Canseco bat and Raph goes,
Yeah.
"A Jose Canseco bat? Tell me you didn't pay money for this."
And
I was like, I bet
Casey
Andy
Jones
laughed at
doesn't
that.
like that. He's
No.
a big Jose Canseco fan.
Andy, were you a Jose Canseco fan back in the day? Or did you
No,
even know
hell
about
no.
baseball when you were
Oh no, but
He was
I
around.
mean, the big Jose Canseco is most famously known for all of this steroid stuff happening, right? Like we didn't know
It was him and
baseball
Mark
players
McGuire,
took-
right?
We knew they did, but it was him for blowing it wide open. He's the one who like kind of told on everybody, and he's also famous for a baseball bouncing off of his head and becoming a home run, which is
Whoa.
That sucks.
look up that clip. Look up that clip whenever you have free time. He's running towards the outfield. He's trying to catch a ball. The ball he misses his glove, hits his head, and bounces over the fence for a home run. And it's just
That
one of the best
sucks.
moments in sports.
Is Jose
He came to my
Canseco the one
elementary
that's oh
And rode a
Is-
horse.
in
Damn.
San Francisco?
At my elementary school, around the kickball.
Didn't know there would be a follow-up.
He rode a horse.
Didn't know there'd be a follow-up statement.
I don't know why there was context. Like, what the fuck? Why'd that happen? Like, the fire department was there. Jose
That's-
Canseco was trying to go.
You know why? That's totally someone who's like, I'm going to get a promotion for this. I feel like he needs to. And then they're like, but everyone starts getting in with their opinions. Like, should he ride a horse? Should he gallop? No, he can't gallop. There's kids here. What if we have the square? What if he just stayed within the square? And then it was like, ruled by committee.
Yeah, no, hold on. Sorry. The last thing I want to say about this is it was Jose Canseco on a
Wait, keep
horse
talking. I have to pee really bad.
with the
Sorry.
policeman walking next to the horse.
Oh,
walking
so
the
it's
horse
like the
on a
pony
leash.
thing at like a country fair.
Yeah.
He's not actually
Jose
riding it,
Canseco was on it.
which makes it even funnier. Is Jose Canseco the one that's trying to find Bigfoot currently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jose Canseco famously got in. He's trying to find Bigfoot, and the Dan Lebitard show was going to put up a lot of money because he's charging a lot of money to.
Because you can go with him,
to
right?
team up with him and film it.
Hilarious.
And he was charging like several $100,000 or something like wild, maybe not hundred thousands or whatever, but that I think ESPN was gonna okay it, and then they realized no, this is like there's a lot of liabilities, there's a lot of like problems with going into a forest with Jose Canseco, because apparently he knows where Bigfoot is and he can show you where it is. You just need to pay for it. Yeah.
Oh,
Guys, this has been a
can
fucking
we
awesome
expect
He's the
episode.
one.
this?
Jose Canseco also tweeted out that his he's the guy his finger fell off at a poker tournament.
What?
His
What?
this is true. This is true. His he had finger surgery or some shit, and it wasn't fully healed, and he was at a poker tournament, and it fell off again, or something like that. Something wild. Like this guy.
What the fuck?
Who is this
He's-
man?
He's one of the most interesting, like also just terrible people, because I think he just like says and does really awful things. But the more quirky, funny side of him, he's a gold mine on Twitter. Like you follow him on Twitter, he's either talking shit about somebody or saying like, "I saw a UFO yesterday. Contact me if you need me." Like he's all over the place. He's really, really funny.
May
he's a
10th,
character.
2020, Jose Canseco tweets, "What is the guy have to
I
do
know
to get
Jose
more
Canseco.
followers around here? Shoot his finger off or something?" Just he knows what his target audience is, clearly.
Did he shoot his
He,
fingers
on
off?
May 9th, he tweeted, "Happy
know.
Mother's Day to everyone." And I told you Alex and J-Lo would not make it because Alex is a mother blink.
Damn, calling Alex
Gosh.
Rodriguez out. All right, so back to the plot. Thank you
He's
guys
also
for.
telling people to come visit him at a car wash show.
Good for
I
him.
don't.
Good for him.
I like him.
Oh, here we are. So they fight, and then Casey gets the better of him and knocks him into the trash can, and then they go chasing after each other. And as Raph chases after him, he jumps over the hood of a taxi, and the driver goes, "What the heck was that?" And then the taxi driver, without missing a beat, goes, "Looks sort of like a big turtle in a trench coat. You going to LaGuardia, right?" That's a
line,
great
great
beat.
moment.
Just zero fucks given on that one.
This is another moment where, like, I don't know why, but for some reason, I was forever scarred about getting stuck in a trash can that way.
Oh yeah, it's
I've
scary.
thought about it
Can't get
a lot
out.
through my life. Yeah, because you're just stuck. Like, how do you get out of that
You're
situation?
stuck. You can't.
Yeah.
Someone has to either come get you or you die. Those are your two choices.
yep.
Or a rat eats you.
Oh, my God.
Raph returns home to find Splinter. Splinter gives him a lesson on inner peace, but Raph is still having trouble channeling his anger. Turned inward, it is an uncontrollable enemy. As you face it, do not forget your brothers and do not forget me, is what he says. The next morning, April's producer Charles comes over to check in on her. He brought his delinquent son Danny too, who is the kid that from the beginning that was stealing wallets. And guess what? He's still doing it. So he robs April blind for that $20. The Turtles watch her on TV while she interviews the chief of police about the Foot Clan. And while while the Turtles love her, the Shredder wants her silenced. April gets chewed out by the chief of police and heads down to the subway, but she misses the last car. When she turns around, the Foot Clan is right there in front of her. They get there to shut her up, and she asks if she's late on her Sony payments again. And I'm like, wow, this is one of those lines
Because they're ninjas from Japan.
It's just racist.
boggling. It's
Wait, but isn't that where
mind-boggling.
ninjas are from?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're not from China.
Definitely. Let's put it this way. It's definitely one of those lines that people wouldn't write now. I don't think that would be included in today, is it?
I thought it was just a topical. We wouldn't get it because back then maybe there were just you had payments for weird shit like that. Like,
well, you did. You would have had like layaway plans for like a Sony TV because they probably were expensive back then. But I do think that she was drawing sort of some stereotype conclusions here that.
Oh, really? I thought it was just like
Yeah.
product placement. You know, this is like not a funny line.
Yeah. Well, either way, this is one of the handful of lines in here that I don't think aged very well. But let's see. She takes out Raph's side to defend herself, but they smack it out of her hand and then they knock
And
her out.
honestly, a really pathetic attempt at
Yeah, she was
trying
like,
to
I
fight with
don't
it.
know how this works, and it's heavy. So just please hit this out of my hand so I don't have to carry it anymore. And it just gets hit out. Let's see. But then, of course, Raph steps in and beats their asses. He takes April back to their lair, but is followed unknowingly by one of the Foot Clan. April wakes up and naturally freaks out, and she thinks she's dreaming. Splinter tells April their story. He's like, you're not dreaming. Here's the story. I was the pet of Master Yoshi and learned all of his moves by watching him. Even though, yes, I was only a 3-month-old rat with the intellect of a rat. But yeah, I could figure out martial arts.
Anyone can cook.
Anyone could cook. Let's see. He came to New York and found the little turtles crawling in the ooze. And then he gathered them up and started training them as they grew up and started talking. And their first word was
Radical.
pizza.
Oh, pizza. That's right.
And then he named them after the masters in painting, which I put in there because I don't think he says that. It's interesting because he tells this story twice, and the next time it's got a lot more detail. I'm like, why don't you just tell the whole story now?
Yeah, it was very weird. Like, I feel like this should have been like the kind of full origin story bit, but
Yeah.
whatever.
They take April back to her apartment, which happens to be above her parents', or I guess her family's antique store, and she offers them some frozen pizza as sort of a courtesy, and they immediately jump on it and they invite themselves in. But they all become very fast friends. April laughs at Donnie's impressions, and Leo excuses them so they can have to get home because it's getting late. They return to find the place ransacked and Splinter missing, and Raph does not take it well. So they head back to April, seeing no other recourse. She opens the door and asks, "What's wrong?" And Leo responds, "Splinter."
Why'd they go with that take?
She's like, what about
Why'd they
it?
go
What-
with that take?
It's one of those, you know,
It's hilarious.
if you have a Mount Rushmore, this is there along with Morph. Morph. We gotta make a Mount Rushmore of just like the single word line readings that are not
terrible line readings. I agree, Andy. Oh God. Charles and Danny come over the next day to take April off the case, and the turtles hide immediately. I like this scene. I like how every time they turn around, like turtles actually use their ninja powers and abilities to kind of ghost on things. Danny sees, I think Donatello underneath the table. When he turns around, he's not there, being replaced instead by a stuffed panda bear. And then we get the gag in the shower where maybe it is Donatello. Leo like jumps up and they can't see him and stuff like that.
I think it's really fun too.
And that stuff's cool. I like that stuff. And then let's see. Then later, as they're driving the car, Charles reads Danny the riot act. So the kid just splits to Foot Clan HQ, where, I'm not going to lie, Kevin, This fucking party is popping.
Yeah, it looks fun, dude. Looks fun.
Kids
Ooh.
are smoking stogies and skateboarding without pads. It's
12-year-old smoking a
insane.
stogie. It's ridiculous.
Andy from Kind of Funny.
Well, let's run a poll here. Do we think this party looks cooler
Ooh,
than
this is
the
fun. I like
party
this.
in Batman Forever, where everything's
Oh.
neon, where everybody has neon paint, and they're
Oh, yeah, this
they
is way
also
cool.
Yes,
are maybe
this party-
skateboarding.
It's way
Way
cooler.
more heroin at this
Because
party.
that
Way
one
more
looks
heroin.
cooler, but people weren't doing heroin. This party,
Yeah.
they're
This party's
openly
any
doing
drug.
heroin.
Dude, I
Yeah.
disagree.
No,
I feel like
I like the neon paint party.
I feel like
better.
thank you.
So,
Joe, 'cause I
like-
feel like everybody
well,
at the Batman
alright.
Forever
Yeah.
party or Batman and Robin, whatever. I think it was Batman and Robin actually.
It was
now
Batman.
that I think of
Yeah,
it.
it was one with George Clooney, right?
Yeah.
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 It's like all the Poison Ivy crew.
Yeah,
Poison Ivy. That
Oh
was
no,
a
he's talking
fancy
about
ball.
no. You're talking about the gang that's in
Yeah.
the black light.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
black
no,
light
there's
all the
way more.
skaters.
You're right, Andy. There's way more heroin at that party.
There's so many
There's
hard
so
drugs
much heroin.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
I
like
feel
a
like
low key
fight.
rave.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah, that's
everybody's
a
on
rave.
hallucinogens at that
they're
party.
on Molly.
so
Yeah, they're rolling. in,
very
yeah.
dangerous, but also very cool looking. with all
This
the colors.
party,
Yeah.
this party reminds me a lot of like the mid 90s parties I would go to when I was 14, 15, where everyone was smoking cigarettes because we thought that was cool. There was a lot of flannel, a lot of denim being worn, like big denim pants, and people were just really experimenting with weed and
A lot of
like alcohol.
Jinkos.
Yeah, a lot of Janko jeans, and people were just like, Nick, this is how you do a windmill, and I'd try it and I'd throw it back out, but I wouldn't tell anyone.
God, and someday
Andy, I thought you were
got
gonna
it
say
down.
what's cooler, this or the party in Free Willy, because they're the same fucking party.
Oh, I
like
haven't
as I was
seen
seeing
Free
this.
Willy in ages.
Free Willy starts with the same thing: a bunch of teenagers in this underground thing, just skating around, doing drugs and shit. Way too much going on.
Tim, I would love
I'm so
it if
tired of
they
you bringing
were-
Free Willy into this. Stop bringing Free. I'm joking. It's just
I would love it if they were just using the same shots, similar to how Jungle Book and Winnie the Pooh have the same reanimation or whatever. It's like, oh, it's the same party. They just reuse those assets.
Now, to be super on the nose with this scene of the kids' parties, all the TVs are playing the scene from Pinocchio, which is random that Pinocchio's coming up again in this, but the cartoon Pinocchio of them when they go to the Jackass Island or whatever the fuck, where all the kids are
Scary.
there.
That's a
I don't
scary
remember the
scene.
plot of Pinocchio that well, but yeah, it's that. I'm like, yeah, we got it. We know.
One of the kids is playing the arcade game Narc, which kind of always scared me when I was a kid. I wrote that in here. I don't know why. I never wanted to play. I was like, that's a scary game.
I gotta.
What is it?
It's just
What
what's the perspective, Tim? Like the TMNT perspective, like top not top down,
Oh,
but
like a
2.5D.
brawler. It's like a brawler
Yeah, like a
game,
brawler.
kind of.
But I think we
Side
were like
scroller.
Beat 'em
side
up.
scroller, yeah.
But what scared you
I-
about it?
It just was about not like okay, it was serious. Let's go on a walk. I remember this game, and then I remember seeing the movie with Jennifer Jason Leigh. There was a movie called Narc, I think, where they go undercover and they get horribly addicted to drugs. And for some reason, I totally associate these two things together in my
It
brain.
could happen to you.
Yeah, I
one day.
don't even think that movie was called Narc. I think it was called something else.
Oh fuck! How did I know that the story was gonna end there?
Yeah.
You start talking about this fucking movie. I'm like, so it wasn't even about the game. It's about a movie. I'm like, what are the chances it's not even the right movie?
Yeah,
Are you talking about Rush?
yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Thanks, Jeff.
Damn it, son
Okay.
of a bitch.
Not
Yeah,
the
that was
movie,
scary.
the
I love
game
you
Rampage.
so much.
Yeah,
know, Nick-
Narc
Nick,
was
they got
about.
four
I
letters.
just
They each
yeah,
got four
Rush,
letters.
Narc. They're both about
Yeah.
drugs, narcotics. Scary guys. Anyway, yeah, a very young Sam Rockwell shows two new recruits around, and apparently Skeet Ulrich is in the scene somewhere, and then someone gets their ass kicked by Tatsu, and then Tatsu teaches a sparring class, and Shredder shows up in a very, very, very dramatic fashion, and boy, is his entire outfit shiny. Tim. This is one area where I feel like the movie excels over the cartoon, simply because you can't show that level of metallic glint in an 80s cartoon. We just didn't have the technology back then. This dude is wearing a blouse that I swear to God beat Arthur wore in every episode of the Golden Girls. It is
So
stunning.
true.
He's got the shoulder pads going on, and I love this because he walks in and everyone's like, holy shit, it's Shredder. And then Tatsu's like, fucking pay some respect to Shredder. And then walks over to him and has to curl up his cape over his little shoulder blades. And meanwhile, do you think he whispers? He's like, shoulder blades are really hard to get over the cape.
It's a scene that I really
This is so
don't
stupid.
understand
It's so
them
dumb.
keeping in the movie. I understand that they're like, okay,
Have him
there's
show
some
up with the shoulder
costume
blades
issues.
out.
just have him show up in the shoulder blades. Like, what the actual fuck? What a weird decision. That not a single person watches that and doesn't think about it. And that's what a movie should make you do, is stop and think about it.
Man, what you're hitting that fucking nail right on the head.
One
I was
thing
like,
I
wow,
will-
this is just so long. It was like a comically badly long scene. Like this is something you'd see in an SNL skit or something like that.
I do want to point out that James Saito, who played Shredder, has had a long career. He's been in a lot of
He's
stuff
great.
since then. He was in Altered Carbon on Netflix. He was in Broad City for an episode.
He's in Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, shout out to him for like still working in
classic.
2021.
Yeah, this dude's been in
like
tons
still
of
has
shit.
still has stuff coming up. But what I will say though is
Oh, he was good looking back then.
we needed
Uh-oh.
to cast a Shredder that wasn't 5'7", 160. You know, like
Someone maybe more physically imposing.
you could tell that
That's what the armor is
Shredder.
for, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
You could tell that the you know that purple sort of blouse was really loose fitting. The shoulder blades were doing a lot of
Please
work.
stop calling it a blouse.
They were. It wasn't what it was, man.
And so you could tell that it was like somebody kind of, you know, of a smaller stature in that suit. And
Yep.
it looked weird. And I'll tell you why it looked even weirder near the final scenes, because we see the full body shot and the helmet's so big.
It's so
The helmet is
big.
gigantic. And maybe we need like big boots on him or something, like to just add more. I don't know. You could tell he's like a fit fucking dude. He was probably like shredded, no pun intended. You could tell he was like a ripped, built guy, but not a whole lot of muscle mass. He probably weighed like maybe 140, 150. It's just, he didn't look too physically imposing. I will
no,
say that, Nick.
definitely not. I think you're
But
right.
part two, Joey. Oh, no spoilers. No
Yeah.
spoilers, Joe. No spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Oh, and
Very
the Michael
excited
Bay
about
one.
this.
Oh god, oh yeah, the Michael Bay
No
ones.
spoilers.
Let's see. Shredder initiates one of the kids into the Foot Clan by giving him the Dragon Dolgi, and then tells them about a new enemy, the Turtles. Splinter listens as he sits chained up in the back, and as Danny steps forward to rat out April. The Turtles watch April on TV and crush hard on her as she tells the world about the Foot Clan, which has ties to an ancient clan of ninja in Japan. April thanks Raph for saving her, gives him a little personal thank you on air, and then the boys, of course, tease him because they're jealous. Leo and Raph fight while Donnie and Mike eat pork rinds. Raph heads there. They fight, of course, because Raph wants to go find Splinter, and he's like, "You're not our leader." And this is always kind of a point of contention, I think, in the cartoon as well. April, let's see. Raph heads to the roof to dance out his rage, and Casey just happens to live 3 roofs over. So of course he sees this and like, what the literal? Why is this guy everywhere?
So
Why is
funny.
this giant turtle? At this point, Andy, do you think Casey's like, I gotta stop eating mushrooms? I'm seeing this fucking guy everywhere.
This is just one of the funniest scenes, and a lot of it is due to the voiced efforts of Raph when he's out on the roof.
It's a great word.
Doing the punching,
Great
doing the
word.
kicking, and you just hear like
Efforts.
the damn, like you just hear him like doing, like making sounds, and it really reminds me of, obviously we think of Patrick Swayze scene. No, Kevin Bacon
In Footloose.
Footloose.
doing the
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
the footloose like fight
Yeah, it makes a
dancing,
lot
you
of
know,
sense.
getting mad. But I think of Hot Rod.
Yeah.
I think of going
When
out
they
to
make
the
fun
floor.
of it. He punch dance. Like, I go punch dance out my rage.
Yeah,
That's what he says.
I think of the Hot Rod parody of that, and it's so funny to see him
Okay.
up there. And then when we get Casey's perspective, I think they reuse the same shot because he's like doing the same cartwheel. Like, who does a
Yeah.
cartwheel when you're mad? Like, it's just
It's a
the
great way to
funniest
throw your
fucking
body
thing.
around.
It's the funniest thing.
But also,
man.
what was Casey doing on that roof? Was he like waxing his hockey stick? What the fuck was he doing up there?
Preparing
Yeah,
for
you
a
gotta
night of
wax it, yeah.
vigilantism.
Where does Casey live? Does Casey live in his van? Like, what does the guy do for a living?
He
What
doesn't-
does his day consist of?
Does he
He
have
would have been a
van?
hockey player.
Oh no, April had the van. That's right.
Yeah, right. So he doesn't have anything.
Also, is this news station like legit? Because they're like, you got to get rid of that old jalopy van that you were, your news van. And I'm like, didn't you give her the news van? Isn't that a company car?
Are you supposed to provide a
Aren't
replacement?
you doing that? Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, let's see. Raph heads up to the roof. The Foot Clan sneaks up on him. April gives the rest of the guys a tour of the antique shop while Raph gets his ass handed to him upstairs. He does well at first, and then of course, as more people come in, they kick the shit out of him. When they head
Great
back
joke
downstairs.
Great joke here where he's kicking the shit out of him and he's like, how are you guys like supposed to beat me? Or like, he says So how are you guys supposed to be? No. But like the response is fucking 30 more people come, and he's like, "That's a good answer. That's a good answer." Yeah.
Good answer.
I don't know why. I just remember the scene being so much more desperate and hopeless.
Well, it'd be his ass.
I wanted this to be like so much more dark than what it was, and for some reason in my head, it also took place at night.
Yeah.
But then maybe I mixed that in my mind with the final night scene on the roof. Either way, this just didn't seem as dark and dreary as the old memory, my old brain had it. Unfortunately.
Let's talk in a couple movies, Andy, because I think you might be mixing something.
You might be mixing something up.
In the 2007 one.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay.
Not.
When they head back upstairs, the clan throws Raph through the skylight and attack the rest of the turtles. And then we got a banger line here from I think Don or Mikey who says, "Wow, I thought insurance salesmen were pushy." And it's like your brother just got thrown through a window. Like, all right. Then a Foot Clan takes out some nunchucks, and Mikey says, a fellow chucker, eh? And I loved this scene when I was a kid. I loved it, Joey, because they have a nunchuck off, and I like the part where Mikey spins. And even though I know, I'm like, as a Kevin, as a martial artist, I understand you can't do this, okay? But we're taking some artistic licenses with the art of ninjutsu, and I respect that, right?
I like that that's the artistic license and not that it's life-size turtles.
A rat can't learn ninjutsu. It just can't do it. The fight pops off and is full of quips, just as you expect it. And this is a fun scene for me. Foot Clan dude breaks in with like 30. Somebody was like, "Can you call Fred?" Because I think Fred brought the axes. Did Fred bring the axes, Fred? And then Fred walks in and he's, "I'm sorry, guys. I was supposed to bring these 20 minutes ago. Did you guys need axes?" He brought 40 fucking axes and they start hacking at everyone with these axes. It's odd. Of course, they hack through the floor, and then more Foot Clan jump through, and then everyone just falls through down into the bottom area. And who's waiting for them there? Tatsu and more Foot Clan. The turtles get overwhelmed, so in comes Casey Jones with all of his hockey stuff to help out, and the whole place goes up in flames. They end up escaping down a hidden passage and drive away in April's van as Danny watches her shop go up in flames and realizes, "Man, I am headed down a dark path. Too bad. The parties are really fun, and God bless those free cigarettes, because even back in 1990, those things were expensive." Shredder beats Splinter for information, but the old rat won't talk. Tatsu is so pissed, he goes over and apparently murders one of the students. I didn't realize that, but just murders his ass.
So, question here. What information did Splinter want?
Splinter wanted... So Shredder was like, "Hey, you fight like my old master. Who are these turtles? What's going on? Where are they at? Who why are they so powerful?" I think that's what he wanted.
All right.
Unless I'm mistaken.
And it wasn't his master.
I think
remember, it was his like contemporary.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Splinter's old master, but yeah.
Yes.
Because technically.
But that just seems like
he's
a
just
weird
a
thing
rat.
to withhold. Like, I'm not going to tell you.
Well, because I don't think Splinter realized I don't think Splinter realized who Shredder was at this point.
Splinter definitely did, because he knew the emblem, the Foot Clan.
Just
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I guess it was self-preservation, right? Because if he told him,
imagine.
"I'm that mouse that scratched your face, and I'm human size,"
Shredder
he'd
just
probably get probably
right
that
through the
moment,
eyeballs. Let's see. Splinter.
Little unhinged at the end. We'll get
Who's
to
Splinter?
We'll get to it. No,
Yeah.
Shredder. Just
Oh.
didn't perform like a leader. Act like you've been there. He just didn't look like he. You don't ever want to get tilted. It's like in the NBA, Nick, when let's say you're playing against Kobe Bryant, and Kobe Bryant has a lot of technical fouls, right?
Okay.
No, you know what? Let's go with the guy from the Golden State Warriors. I forget his name.
Steph Curry.
But he's always getting technical fouls.
Klay Thompson.
No, the other one,
Kevin
tall
Durant.
guy. No, not Kevin Durant. He's not there
Giovanni
anymore.
Ribisi.
Anyway, a lot of technical fouls. And what happens, Tim, is whenever a player has technical fouls, you try to get at him so he gets another technical.
So he gets one more.
And you try to get him more or whatever, because
out.
if you get him again, he'll miss a full game. And so it's like, I feel like Shredder, like, you got to be a little bit cooler under the pressure, Like, this isn't your
Trying to
first
poke the
rodeo.
bear.
This isn't the
It's true.
first person you've ever fought. Why are you like you're rushing at a dude with a fucking spear? Well, I guess it is a rat. So what would you expect?
Splinter lends Danny a friendly ear as Casey, April, and the gang take refuge in April's old farmhouse.
Draymond Green, by the way. Draymond Green. Sorry, Jen.
Draymond Green, perfect. Casey tells her she's fired, so she doesn't have to worry about going back to work the next day. And she's like, "You couldn't have broken that to me better." And he's like, "Dude, the place was on fire. I'm doing the best I can here. Okay, all I have are my birds and my hockey sticks." And I think that this is the first scene where we're supposed to feel like they have chemistry, but I really don't feel it. April takes a moment to have an inner monologue, which is the first time this movie's done that, while she draws pictures of all the turtles' coping mechanisms. Donnie and Casey, she draws Donnie and Casey becoming best buds, while Leo keeps a constant vigil over Raph, who they decided to put in a bathtub instead of a comfortable bed, so apparently they could water him like a dying plant. Casey and
Also,
April,
like face down. That
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
seem comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a turtle's got to
I-
breathe, right?
I
It
have
looks like
learned
his shoulder was gonna pop out of socket, like just like at the angle it was. Like,
I have recently learned that turtles do absorb a lot of their liquid through their skin. So I guess they were
Science of
keeping him
God.
hydrated.
Boris. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
sorry,
were
Boris.
literally like pouring water over his face, so I assumed that's what the whole point of it was. But maybe fill the tub up a little bit more. Casey and April fight more as Raph wakes up. Of course, Leo is very sorry. He apologizes for telling Raph they didn't need him, and the two make up. Then all four turtles train so they can go find Splinter. Raph just takes a moment from training just to get some more of that energy out by what, Tim? Going up to the top of the house and screaming Splinter's name, which accomplishes absolutely nothing except.
Nick,
so
you've never done
awkward.
this. You've never done this. You've never gone to the
No.
sunroof.
no.
Kevin, when I was a kid, I've been hammered on Jack Daniels, smoking cigarettes in my front lawn with my brother's friends. And yes, once or twice I have yelled in the entire neighborhood Splinter. I've yelled that out.
So you have to remember,
Yeah.
these are teenagers that are upset.
Yeah,
you know?
we don't know. I didn't know how to express myself. I just thought it was hilarious. We also used to take those big Christmas lights. We'd unscrew them and just throw them up in the air because they'd make a popping sound when they landed on the street. That's the kind of stupid shit you do in Riverside, California in the 90s.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I just wanted to play this really, really fast, just to kind of just in memory right here. This is the voice line that gets me every time.
Get a grip, will you? Listen, Raph. It'll be okay. Yeah, all right, Leo.
I can't get to it. God damn it! I can't fast forward. It's
What's
just
the guy got to do to get some food?
Get some food around here.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
They're like, I
it
don't
is
know,
so
Grandpa.
John
Let me go
Travolta.
find you some
Well,
food.
he's all
It's-
beaten
it is
out.
weird.
Come on. Don't make me make
He
excuses
is.
for this movie.
He is. It's
I love
just
it so much.
funny. Just the
One of my
delivery is
favorite
I
hilarious.
line
will.
deliveries, though, is earlier when they're watching the cartoons of like the rabbit, whatever, and it's like, "What are you doing? Then you kick the damn rabbit." I was
Yeah.
just like, I love it. It's so stupid.
But that's what made it cool, is like the fact that they said "damn." That's what made like the Ninja Turtles kind
Yeah.
of edgy, you know?
Yeah.
So true. Shredder contemplates the ghost of his past while the boys train hard for the upcoming fight. Casey uses Leo's katana blade to chop some carrots, then gives April a very aggressive back rub. Mikey comes in. Yeah. Go
I
ahead,
do
Joe.
love this part when he pulls out the turtle axe. I don't know
Yeah.
why it made me laugh, but it did. And I just feel like I have a very low bar for comedy, probably.
Joey, you spent a lot of time with me. Leo.
One time right here is another great one.
It's
But
not
we can't
working.
hear it.
Can't hear
Yeah,
it.
it's not
Oh,
coming through for some
no.
reason.
Oh,
It's not
it's
coming
so
through the gate
unfortunate.
for some reason.
Oh god dang.
Mikey makes the joke about that, and then Leo goes out to meditate on how to find Splinter, who apparently is psychically connected to the leader of this gang. Leo makes them all meditate by the fire, and the ghost, the spirit, the Jedi spirit ghost of Splinter appears in front of them. The word I was looking for, Kevin, was Force Ghost. Force Ghost
Yeah, no, we
was
got
the word
it.
I was looking for when I
all
wrote all that
figured it
stuff.
out.
In front of them to tell them they've finished their final lesson. Listen, now y'all have mastered the force. You can go about your business and always remember the true force that binds you, love. And then he says goodbye to them, and they all cried because apparently he's dead. Casey and April finally start to get along, and Casey opens up about his hockey career. And then the turtles tell them all it's time to go, and they stand really cool and heroic like, and the sun's in the background. And you're like, okay, they're gonna go wreck some shit. Casey gets a rude awakening when they head into the sewers, where they find Danny hiding in a closet. Danny takes one of April's drawings while Donnie and Mikey mourn the loss of a perfectly good pizza. Casey decides to sleep in his truck above because he's claustrophobic, or which he very much misinterprets to be another one of those moments that didn't age very well in this.
No, yeah.
Where they're like, they're like, no, it's not even worth getting into. But Danny heads back to talk to Splinter, who tells him the story of how his master competed with someone named Oroku Saki over the love of a woman. But rather than see Yoshi, his master, fight, she convinced him to move to America. But Saki followed them and killed both of them, breaking Splinter's cage in the process. So Splinter, doing what all incredibly intelligent, highly aware, and now apparently, Tim, according to you, trained ninja rats would do, and jumps up and bites a motherfucker in the face.
Hell yeah, dude.
What's up, Kev?
No, I agreed. I was like, yeah, that makes total sense. If
Total
you go
sense.
after, if you were a rat and someone killed your master, who you respected, Nick, because he was
Exactly.
teaching you by
Exactly.
accident karate,
By accident.
you would definitely attack and claw the motherfucker's
100%.
face.
God, I
What
gotta
if-
fucking be more aware of what karate I'm doing around certain beings of creatures.
Can you imagine
When
that
you
if
teach
you,
him
Hey,
Lulu.
real talk, Nick, I'm so happy that you grew up in the time you did because, I mean, it obviously just made you who you are.
Oh,
but,
yeah,
like,
well.
we don't get karate movies now.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we don't.
Like, we don't get ninja movies now.
no,
Not
no.
like this. No.
No.
You had Karate Kid. You had Three Ninjas. You
I
had
had
Surf
everything.
Ninjas. You
Yeah.
had Beverly Hills Ninja. You had so many goddamn
All the ninjas.
It's
All the ninjas.
Turtles, Ninja fucking Rats. Oh, my God.
any place you're from, any activity you could do, there was a ninja that could go along with it. It was perfect in the 80s and 90s. Let's see. Nobody knows what what happened to Oroku Saki, but Danny is wearing his symbol on his brow. So Splinter's
Yeah,
pretty
that's a
sure
cool
that
line.
the
That's a
Shredder
cool
is
line.
Oroku Saki. Casey sneaks into the compound dressed as one of the foot soldiers while Danny renounces his membership, but Shredder catches him dropping his bandana or his headband and he's like, "You're hiding something." Danny's like, "I'm not hiding anything." And then Shredder very slowly reaches toward Danny's rear, and Danny's like, "Whoa, what are we doing here?"
He said
And
it
then he
wasn't
pulls
one
out
of
the
these
picture.
clubs.
He pulls out the drawing of that April made of Leo waiting, and then Splinter turns around and says, "They're back. There will be no mistake this time. I go myself, and the rat kill it." Danny runs into Casey and convinces him to help rescue Splinter because they're going to kill him, while the Foot Clan heads into the sewers. But when they get there, the turtles have a trap ready for them, and that trap is boiling hot steam that burns their faces off and probably kills them.
Tonight, we dine on turtle soup. A line they didn't say in this, but I really fucking wish they did.
That would've
It's a
been really
classic
cool.
Shredder line from the cartoon, and I love it. I also really appreciate how quickly like some character flips just happen here, where it's like, okay, cool, we get it. Casey's on the side. This kid, Danny, like this is kind of around the moment he becomes Dan, correct? Like emotionally, maybe not.
Emotionally,
like,
yeah.
in
I would say this
actuality.
is the Dan moment, yes.
Yeah, but it's like all the things that he's done so far are kind of just like you're just a little fucking prick, and it's like you didn't need to cause all this problem, and now all of a sudden you kind of regret it, and it's solved so quickly by essentially him and Casey bonding, him evolving into Dan, and then them just being like, he's gonna kill Splinter, as if that line means anything to necessarily to Casey. It's
Casey's
like
like,
there's
who
so
the
much
hell are you
context.
talking
Well, there's
about?
also-
Who's Splinter.
Oh, the giant rat. Okay, got it.
There's also the moment where
So
Splinter's
true.
like, Casey. And it's like, I didn't know you knew his
Did
name.
y'all
Like,
meet?
yeah.
How did
there was a point where he does ask Casey, "Who are you?" Like, and what do you like? Sort of, why are you here? What are you doing here, or whatever. But I wasn't expecting like just so quickly. I'm sure there's some missed scenes, some deleted scenes like you were mentioning
Definitely.
earlier. But for him to just be like, "Casey, you're here. Like, thank God. I fucking love you, man." Like, it's so
Because I'd be
bizarre.
like this. If I were Casey and I saw that thing, I'd be like, "What is it? What is that thing?
"Should we kill it?
Do we
is
kill this thing? Like, we have to kill this thing, right?"
This is
Because
probably the bad guy, right? Like,
there's like 6 billion rats or something like that in New York alone, and if they all start getting this big, we're gonna have a very serious problem. So we should take this thing out of the gene pool right now. Let's see. More Foot Clan show up, and Casey and Danny save Splinter, but Tatsu has other plans. The turtles kick ass, and April helps out from the rafters. Casey gets smart with Tatsu, so the ninja smacks him around a little bit, but thankfully, Casey finds a good old-fashioned golf club and tees off on Tatsu while Sam Rockwell and the boys watch. And then he has a great banger line, Andy. I bet you got to laugh at this one, where he looks at the golf club. He says, "I'll never call golf a dull game again."
oh, such a good line. Who could forget? What a great line.
His entire character is just
Sports
like
Sports
sports.
puns. Sports puns. Splinter tells them all. He turns to the group of kids and tells them all the Shredder has been using them. He's been poisoning their minds. And then Sam tells them that they're family, but Casey calls bullshit, and the wool is finally lifted from their eyes.
We got to fight the Foot Clan. Do they call them the Foot Clan? FUT outside of America or what? Like,
oh my God, that would be a great line.
Football sport. It's just another Casey Jones. Throw that in there.
Perfect.
I do feel like that flip would have made a lot more sense had the second in command had murdered the kid. Because it kind of is just like, they're really going to treat you like this? Like, they're really treating you like family? And it's kind of like, it seems like it. But all right. You know what I mean? He just kind of flips for no reason. And that death would have meant a lot more to that scene specifically.
I think we got it. I mean, I think they saw their friend get his ass kicked and get knocked out. I think that was traumatic enough for them to at least question, what is happening with the morality of this club that we're in? Yes, we are stealing and robbing people, but there has to be a limit here. And to Sam Rockwell's credit, he dances really well in other movies. Let's see. The Foot Clan retreats to the roof as the turtles crush them with their shells, and then they practice a bunch of lines and they land on, well, it was a shell of a good hit, Tim. Someone tries to take Donnie's head off, and then he pops it back into his shell, and then when he pops it back up, kicks their ass, and then screams, God, I love being a turtle.
Hell yeah. And
they finally run out of Foot Clan soldiers to fight, so guess who steps in? The man himself, Mr. Shredder, and we're on to the final boss battle. Raph takes him on first and gets his ass handed to him, and then one by one the boys go in, and they get their asses handed to them. And
only
then
one gets a hit in. Leonardo.
Of course he is. He's the leader. And then they regroup and say, any thoughts? And I forget who says it, but one of the turtles says, I think maybe it was Raph or Leo. Says, I only have one thought. This guy knows where Splinter is. And they all go after him. And that's a hype moment for me. And they attack, and the music gets really serious. And you're like, wow, it's a different movie. And then Casey kills two men with a garbage truck downstairs. And everyone's like, Casey, back it off 10%, bro. This is not what we're trying to do today. Yeah, you don't have to be murdered for that. Let's see. Shredder gets the better of Leo and makes the rest of the guys throw down their weapons. But the same thing, and things start looking real dire until Splinter shows up and straight throws Shredder off the roof and into the garbage truck below.
I love the dummy that is the way the body looks when it flies over. It really just reminds you of that one movie, Catwoman too. Oh my God, yeah. But it's so clearly a dummy. It's like that one wilderness movie where the person knocks the jaguar off a cliff, and it cuts to the cliff, and then it just shows a little
just
shitty
spinning way too fast,
a shitty version of a doll.
Benji.
You could tell. Yeah, I believe it is Benji. Yeah,
that's
it's
hilarious.
So funny looking, dude.
And then Casey accidentally on purpose triggers the garbage compactor, and Shredder dies a very slow, painful, stinky death. The cops finally show up along with Charles and the crew and the news crew, and Danny gives April her money back that he stole from her. Charles and Danny reunite, and now it's just Dan, okay? And the dad goes, and then they hug.
I love it.
No, but I love the cops going, hey, what's going on here? We need some explanations. And then Sam Rockwell's like, you want to check out this warehouse over on this street? And they're like, okay, no more questions.
Yeah.
All right, I guess you could go.
Yeah.
No more questions. That's all we got.
Yeah, hold on. I have something, but I need to find where I put it. The street in the warehouse, they say, check out the East Warehouse over on Lairdman Island.
Eastman and Laird.
Are
That's
the
cool.
Creators of the Ninja Turtles.
Like
That's
that.
cool. That's
and
fun.
one of them had a cameo in this. I think it was Eastman.
They were still fighting
April-
at this time.
I have to imagine. This was probably the impetus of some of their arguments.
I think it was in the cartoon. Doesn't matter.
Was it? Might have been the cartoon.
I think it was.
April. Yeah, probably. April negotiates a corner office and a higher salary to come back to the story. Then, of course, the scene where Sam Rockwell points the cops.
She got a lot.
Hell yeah, she got a lot. Dude, she's the only one that knows the turtles. You're not talking to anyone else?
Do you want to work there? They're clearly corrupt. They were strong armed by the cops to drop this story and fire you.
The classic news boss thing, though. I can't tell you how many times Fran was like, Nick, we got to take you off that story to 50 Cent Blood in the Sand. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking Cabo San Lucas if I got to pay for myself there, but I'm still going to expense that meal.
We can't have you reporting on the Scooby Doo.
Scooby Doo.
Scooby Doo fucking DS. God damn it,
Oh, the
Fred.
kind of funny lore.
I'll never forget that. You gotta go back out and get Scooby Doo on the off-screen footage of Scooby Doo on the DS. Me and fucking Tyson are like, nobody fucking cares. They don't need to see footage of Scooby Doo on the DS. It's not gonna be the hot title of 2008, bro. I love Fran. I'm playing Warzone with them later. Anyway, Charles and Danny reunite. Yeah, we got that. Sam Rockwell points the cops to the warehouse where all the stolen goods are, and then immediately gets shanked for snitching. Casey and April finally make out, and I think these two were horribly miscast in this movie. Yeah. And then the Turtles watch from above and cheer them on. Mikey scores the kiss a 9.95, which is not unlike the score to this movie on Rotten Tomatoes, which is sitting at a fan score of 81. Bet you didn't know that, Tim, master of trivia. Then the boys try to figure out the correct phrase to end the movie with. And once again, Splinter has to come in to save the day. He says, I've always liked Cowabunga. And then everyone goes, Cowabunga. And then, as if it wasn't enough, they cut back to Splinter and he says, I made a funny. And then we roll the credits and we get TURTLE power.
With that vocoder voice. There is nothing more 1990 than the credits to this fucking thing. Like,
oh my God.
It's like, I love that it's them telling the plot of the entire movie, kind of describing the characters, but getting a lot of them wrong with the lyrics. Like, it just doesn't feel.
It hits
like
on everything. Yeah.
It is your standard. We have.
He's a hell of a fellow. It's like, okay, I guess those aren't lines in it, but they could be.
This is the Tim, you didn't understand because you were too young to understand the 90s. In the 90s, they gave you 35 minutes to write and record these songs. And I'm pretty sure, was it MC Hammer that made this?
I'm pretty sure it's MC Hammer.
Whoever the musical artist was, sounds like he was recording it like in his own kitchen. It doesn't, there's like, the vocals are super dry. It's just like super bad. But man, we're about to get the best song ever created in Secret of the Ooze. So y'all better shut your mouth.
Shut your damn mouths, everybody.
Give me one sec. Give me one sec. I think it is Partners in Crime that did it. MC Hammer does other songs on the soundtrack for both this and the second one. But the beat for this shit is hard as fuck to this day.
I'm listening to it right now.
I don't know what the hell it samples, but it's
I'm going to listen to it right now.
I'm listening to it right now.
Yeah, I'm sending it just to you guys, just to listen to whatever you want. But Andy, hit the theme song for that haiku and review.
7 syllables in the middle. You'll need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review. Haiku in review.
That was great.
Damn, I just
awesome.
watched this movie and I don't remember it lasting that long.
It's long.
Also,
You
Andy,
can go-
really happy to have you back. Doing all the music, really stressful. They made me do it for Pixar interview. It was not great.
It was awesome. It was awesome. You can go to patreon.com/kindafunny to write your review in haiku form, just like Zaid Wilson did, who for some reason wrote Tootin' Mean Edge Needle Teetles.
I got Nick. The man on the bottom right laughing is the one who loves Balls of Fury.
Just childish humor gets me.
I love it.
Zaid Wilson says Shredder is badass. Freaking love those spikes, but man, goes out like a punk.
Yeah.
He really fucking does.
He really does.
Although they don't set him up to be that cool either, but
Not
whatever.
really.
Miscellaneous writes in, of course, with the plot in haiku. They break up a fight. Turtles slip off in the night, fucking out of sight. Now the boys are shook. In a cage, Splinter is taken by the foot. After clan attack, talked a ghost of giant rat. It's time to go back. Splinter saved the day. Ultimate price, Shredder paid. Turtle power. Yay. There we go, man. There
All
we
right.
go.
I love it.
Tasty.
Go for it, Andy.
Ragu. Bagu. What's up, everybody? In Cowabunga. Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys. Here for TMNT in review. I guess top on the list, we'll just put Shredder and the Foot Clan. Does that sound about right for everyone?
Number one.
Right on. There you go. Number one. We'll see if Shredder comes back for the second one. And I honestly can't remember.
Put Sam Rockwell in there too.
No, Sam
Now, to
Rockwell's a
talk-
good guy.
Justin Hammer.
To talk about it a little more, it's pretty damn low tier. Like, I think that they really did a bad job of setting Shredder up to be this big villain. Like, they just literally just kind of have him. They don't even really say he's the leader. He's just there, so you're clearly like, all right, I guess they respect him. But not only does he not do anything cool, he dies like a punk, isn't interesting at all. Shout the fuck out, though, to his outfit. I love the blouse. I love the coloring of it. I love how it's more of like a
It's purple.
maroon
Dude,
than a
here's
purple.
burgundy. Yeah.
Here's what I need. I need somebody to put the Shredder helmet and the Shredder shoulder pads and the bracers and whatever else, knee pads, whatever else accessories he had on Selena Quintanilla, the Latina music star, when she's in that purple dress. Joey knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah,
the
because it's like
crosses and
they're
stuff,
very,
yeah.
very similar kind of purple vibes, very kind of almost glittery and shiny in certain ways. I need to see that Photoshop. I might just do it myself, but
Please
yeah.
do. Please do.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, top on the list: Shredder and the Foot Clan, and those amazing shoulder pads. There it is.
Now, ranking it, obviously, it's number one, and we'll see how that goes as we go on. Next week, we are doing Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, which I will say, I imagine is going to be a Back to the Future situation for me, where growing up, number 2, clearly my favorite. Number 2 was the shit, and it was kind of just more, which is why I liked it. But similar to Back to the Future 2, where it's like, I loved that one as a kid, but going back, it's like, oh, this is as good as I remember it
Not as
being.
good.
Yeah.
So we'll have
No,
to-
I'm excited.
I think it's going to be a beautiful disaster. I think I'm going to. It's going to probably. Gosh, I'm trying to think of what movie series it was recently where I knew this. Oh, Karate Kid, where I was like, part 1, fantastic. Part 3, fantastic because it's so terrible, you know? But part 2, I wasn't expecting it to be that way, so I just thought it was a disappointment.
Yeah.
I think part 2, I'm expecting a beautiful disaster. I'm expecting to love it because it's going to be a shit show with all the musical ensembles, and yeah, it's going to be a blast. dude.
I have like a very vivid memory of the first like 5 minutes, and
Yeah,
I'm very
the mall
curious
scene.
to see how like
it's perfect.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we all wanted to be him. Like we all wanted to be that kid who becomes friends with the turtles. Like that's the coolest shit ever, dude.
Wasn't
Oh
it
my
Ernie
God.
Reyes Jr. or no?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
But we're
let's
getting
not
way
spoil
too
much.
into this.
Yeah,
You'll
no,
have
spoil
to
it.
wait.
Joey.
Next week, we're returning with that. And also, Pixar in review carries on with Cars 2. So it's going to be a fun week. Going to be a fun week of watching stuff and talking about it.
That's the
But
highway.
until then,
Go
Cowabunga.
Ninja, go Ninja, go.